How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Good afternoon. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're joining us from, particularly to our audience in the live stream. A warm welcome to CapitaLand Sustainability X Challenge. This is our 4th edition, and we welcome you to Demo Day. I'm Charmaine E, and I will be your host for this event. Today marks the culmination of what seems like months of bold ideas and collaboration. And in the room, we have right here in our front row, 10 outstanding startups that will be taking the stage to showcase how their solutions can drive sustainable innovation and built environment. Before I continue, can we please give our 10 amazing startups a warm round of applause? Ladies and gentlemen, we have a really exciting lineup for you, so allow me to take you through what you can expect this afternoon. First, we will kick things off with a welcome by Vinamra Srivastava, Chief Sustainability and Sustainable Investments Officer at CapitaLand Investment. After which, we will be sharing an overview of the highlights from our 4th edition of the CapitaLand Sustainability X Challenge, otherwise known as CSXC. We will then have our top 10 finalists take the stage, where we will also have a live Q&A session with our judges here, a very strict 5 minutes, and us audience, we will get a chance to be interacting with the teams. For those of us that are here in the room, we will have a QR code for you, flashed on the screens before you, and for our virtual audience, we will have a link that will be in the chat. Once all our pitches are completed, our judges will then take the time to deliberate, and there will be a short networking session for those of us that are here in the room at BCA Academy. There will be a video too showcasing our past highlights from the last 3 editions. Finally, when it is time, I will let you know, and we will return to the hall for the highly anticipated awards ceremony, and of course, who will be taking home those 4 amazing awards tonight. It is my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, with all that said, to be welcoming the CapitaLand Chief Sustainability and Sustainable Investments Officer, Mr. Vinamra Srivastava, up on stage for a few words. Mr. Srivastava, please.
Thank you very much, Charmaine. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. I really appreciate the time that you've taken to come here. Not the easiest to approach, so really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I thought I just wanted to cover 3 quick points about CSXC, the past, the present, and the future. How did CSXC start? When we started this in 2021, the question that we were trying to answer was not to justify why real estate is so important in the fight for climate change. We were already past that question. So the question we were trying to answer was the how. And that's how CSXC was born. And the concept was fairly simple in idea, but tough to execute, which was, let's go out globally, source climate innovation that is looking to scale up some of the brilliant ideas that they have, and they're looking for real-life opportunities to do that across the globe. So with that simple intent, we reached out, attracted applications across different challenge segments, energy, water, waste, etc. We shortlisted 10 and started giving these 10 an opportunity to pilot these solutions across CapitaLand's global portfolio. And we funded those pilots. And once the pilots were successful, that was a recipe for us to then allow these to commercialize across our businesses and even out there in the market. So it's been 3 years now, and sourcing through CSXC was just one way in which CapitaLand was using innovation to fight climate change. We set up a fund called CapitaLand Innovation Fund, where we parked $50 million to be spent over 5 years. And we said half of this fund we want to dedicate to sustainability-related initiatives. And while CSXC was one engine through which we source startups, the other part of the fund actually focuses, and continues to do so till today, on sourcing technologies through various other channels. So for example, all our teams globally in our offices, every quarter, pitch solutions and ideas that they are sourcing from their markets to the CIF Evaluation Committee. We also pilot steady, established, large-scale solutions and execute them in our properties. So the purpose of CSXC was to push cutting edge, but yet to be fully commercially proven technologies, while in parallel, we continue to invest in the established, proven, mature technologies. And therefore, the approach was more like a Swiss Army knife than trying to look for a silver bullet that solves the problem. The second aspect is the present. So where do we stand today? We started in 2021. We started with 270 plus entries that came in. Today, we are in the 4th edition. This year, we have more than 900 entries that have come in. Cumulatively, we have attracted more than 2,400 startups from all over the world across these 4 editions. We have shortlisted 30 of these over the last 3 years, which are now under 46 pilots in 7 countries. Many of these pilots have been successful, and they have been rolling out steadily across our global portfolios. Many of them are still in progress. And we learned a lot ourselves during a lot of these engagements on both the opportunities, but also the challenges that you face on the ground when you work with startups and pilots. And I think all our 10 finalists have been very much made aware throughout all the engagement sessions on the past challenges we faced working with solutions that have yet not scaled up, and shared some of our learnings so that every edition we try to increase the chances of successful execution of these pilots. We also expanded the challenge statements themselves. We started early on only with the top material items of energy, water, waste, but over a period of time, we've expanded to include construction materials, construction technologies. We've expanded to include tenants, supply chain, etc. And we also expanded our partnerships. So we are very grateful and very, very thankful to our partners, Enterprise Singapore and the Building and Construction Authority, whose beautiful premises you're sitting in today, supporting us at the headline level since the last year. And then we are also very fortunate to have private sector partners. These are sandbox partners. These are our clients today in our portfolio who will partner with us in executing some of these pilots, not just in the landlord spaces of our buildings, but also in their own tenant premises. And this year, we are fortunate to have Allianz, GIC, KPMG, and FedEx partnering us in this endeavor. So last but not the least, where do we go from here? What is the future? I always challenge the team to discuss where do we see CSX in 5 years' time. Honestly, with the pace at which this field is growing, I don't know. What I can definitely see is us expanding to cover more and more material items. Today, we don't touch nature, for example. We don't go so deep in biodiversity. We don't cover carbon markets. I wouldn't be surprised if these could be some of the areas where we expand to. Clearly, we will expand our partnership base as well. The business model itself may get expanded. Today, for example, we fund the pilots up to $1 million every year. We fund these projects. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up finding a model where we start investing selectively in some of these companies, given the pipeline that we are sitting in. So I do see a lot of potential for CSXC to evolve. So in summary, 3 learnings that we have been fortunate enough to really experience over the last many years of using innovation to fight climate tech. Number 1 has been, as I mentioned earlier, that there is no silver bullet. And I was just sharing earlier that I always feel that in many ways, boring is beautiful, because there could be a lot of stuff that works wonder and magic behind those air conducts, which you may never see and which will never make the headlines of any newspaper, but they move the needle. If they give me 10% savings in a buildings, I'll take it any day, right? So we realize that let's spread our bullets and let's try to see what works in which space and proceed with that, as against wait for this big ticket, great solution that can solve all our problems. The second learning that we've had is that it is always a portfolio approach. When we become net zero, and hopefully we will one day, not every building will be net zero. There will be some buildings that will outperform, and there will be some that will underperform. So the trick really is, how do we scientifically allocate capital into buildings and assets which can show huge impact, which can show the right ROIs, and which can make progress, and maybe deprioritize, unfortunately, some other assets. So we always keep a portfolio approach in mind. Even when we pilot these solutions, it will be at a portfolio level. And the third learning that we have had is that it is not a zero-sum game. Financial feasibility and returns versus sustainability leadership, unfortunately, sometimes gets portrayed as an either-or question. But we feel genuinely as CapitaLand that it is not a zero-sum game. It is a spectrum. And sometimes there will be certain solutions that will not make financial sense, but it doesn't mean that everything doesn't make financial sense. And at the same time, we cannot be at the other end of the spectrum saying nothing makes financial sense, so let's just go slow. The reality is always somewhere in the middle. So like a smart capital allocator, what we all need to do is use sustainability wisely to tread this spectrum and push for things that make the right business case, and they're pushing the boundaries on sustainability leadership. So with that, thank you once again, all of you, for coming over. I wish all our participants all the very best. You all are already winners that you're here, and I cannot wait to get going to piloting all your technologies across our portfolio. Thank you once again. I really appreciate this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Srivastava, for taking us through the journey of CSXC and where we are today. Now, the 4th edition launched in October 2024 and received over 900 applications from over 90 regions to where we are today. Now, none of this would have been possible without the support of our unwavering support of our partners. And we'd like to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt thanks. Could you please join me with a warm round of applause as we thank our partners for being also supportive and for reviewing the proposals, providing mentoring opportunities and guidance to our 10 finalists. Can we give them a warm round of applause, please? It is their contributions that have been instrumental to shaping where we are to make our 4th edition a success so far. So thank you for your continued support. Now, these applications that I spoke about earlier were carefully reviewed by CapitaLand and external subject matter experts, and it was wilted down to 31 startups, a short list. And after a second round of selections by the CSXC Advisory Committee, we have 10 outstanding finalists with us in the room today to compete in Demo Day. They will be pitching for an opportunity. Of course, this is an opportunity for them to be selected, to be piloting their solutions and to potentially scale their solutions across selected CapitaLand properties across 260 countries in over 40 regions, with up to 75,000 Singapore dollars worth of costs to cover their piloting efforts. Among them today, we have 4 special awards that we're giving away, 4 special recognition awards: the High Impact Award, the Most Innovative Award, Enterprise Singapore's Most Scalable Award, and Enterprise Singapore's Emerging Startup Award. This year, the CSXC theme was built around 2 main tracks. The first track was to build climate resilience and resource efficiency. This focused on low carbon transition, water conservation and resilience, waste management and circular economy, as well as construction decarbonization. The second track was to enable thriving and future adaptive communities. This addressed health, safety, and wellness in buildings, engagement with tenants and occupants, as well as collaboration across supply chain. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to be introducing our top 10 finalists, and they bring technologies with them from Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, China, Israel, and the United States. Please join me with a warm round of applause once again to congratulate them to where they are today. Out of our 7 themes that were introduced earlier, these solutions that we will see presented on stage include low carbon transition, water conservation and resilience, construction decarbonization, health, safety and wellness in buildings, as well as tenant engagement. Each startup will have 5 minutes to pitch, followed by a 5-minute Q&A session with our judges present here. The finalists will be evaluated on 3 main criteria: innovation, impact, and scalability. After our first 5 finalists have each taken the stage, they will then be all back on stage for a lightning round. Now, as its name suggests, there will be quick questions and quick answers, and this is where us as audience can participate. For our in-person audience, once again, we will have a QR code that will be flashed before you, and for our virtual audience, we will have a link in the chat for you. Please ensure that you tag your question to the specific startup that you are asking the question to. We will strive to maximize the 10 minutes for the lightning round, and we will hope that each startup that is on stage will have an opportunity to answer your questions. At the end, that will be the first group. We will have 2 batches of 5 teams coming up. So we will have 5 pitches, lightning round, 5 pitches, and another lightning round that follows. To evaluate our top 10 technologies, I'm pleased to introduce our distinguished judges who are right before us. Please join us in giving a wave to our camera. I believe we've got them all set for you. With a warm round of applause, could you please join me in welcoming our Chief Judge, Mr. Manohar Kiatani, Senior Executive Director at CapitaLand Investment. Ms. Magdalene Low, Director, Urban Solutions and Sustainability at Enterprise Singapore. Mr. Magnus Grimlin, Founder and CEO at Antler. Ms. Yvonne Voon, Partner at Fifth Wall. Mr. Tan Chi Kiet, Deputy CEO, Industry Development at Building and Construction Authority of Singapore. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with all that said and done, it is time for our first pitch to take the stage. This innovation is from Singapore. With a warm round of applause, let's welcome Mr. Leonard Lim, CEO of NVCom, presenting us the technology NVGel 365 RPET. This will be addressing the challenge statement in low carbon transition. Leonard, the time is all yours.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, CapitaLand, BCA, and Enterprise Singapore for giving a chance today to be on stage today. Yeah. I would like to tell a story. When I was young, I liked to follow my grandmother to the market. Every time I go to the market, she will always buy a piece of pork or fish, and she will wrap it with newspaper. And I always ask her, why do you need to have the newspaper wrapped around the piece of pork or the fish? Because she says, oh, it's going to last longer. So it constantly reminds me that conservation is very important. So it actually gives me the idea that things around us are not there perpetually for us, and we need to conserve whatever we can. So then, slowly but surely, plastic bag came along. And then we have refrigeration, and then we have air conditioning. Things are coming too conveniently for us. And what happens? We start abusing them. So today, we are in the stage whereby we have abundant of technology, abundant of energy, right? Abundant of plastic waste, but we do not know what to do with it. So we have 2 global issues. One is the waste management and one is the energy consumption issues due to climate change. What if today I can have a waste management problem? We have a waste problem, we can solve an energy problem. So if you look at the majority of the HVAC is actually consuming most of the power. Lighting is probably sorted out in the past 10 years with LEDs and all that. But HVAC is something that is the main issue right now because climate change is going to bring the temperatures going up. So if the temperature is going to be going up all the time, then how are we going to achieve our net zero goals? So renewable energy is good, but conserving energy starts today. So this is how we actually size up the aircon. So basically you have, you size up the aircon based on the number of people and also the room size as well. So you have more people in the room, and then you have more aircons. So this is how we actually size the aircon. So the human body is about 36.7 Celsius, right? So we have a 1.6 square meter of area on the body. So imagine if your walls are hot. So typically your air conditioning is actually cooling down the walls and not the people. So this is what we are trying to address right now. So we want to make sure that the heat from the walls are not being cooled by the aircon, but the energy from the aircon is being cooled for the purpose of human beings. Right. So if you look at the red square, is actually typically a building or a room which is not protected by our technology. So the aircon needs to work really hard to cool it down from 35 to 24 Celsius. But what if you have our technology and then the aircon only need to cool down from 28 to 4 Celsius? So you have always heard about setting your remote control of the aircon to like 26 to 27 Celsius. So every Celsius gives you 10% savings in energy. So if we can actually maintain and reduce the amount of energy, heat energy that's coming in, then the aircon will work less harder to achieve that savings. Yeah. So this is what is happening today. We have a concrete, and then we have your insulation material, which is really thick. And today we are able to do it the same way, the same performance, but 25 times thinner. Yeah, and this particular material here right now is being used throughout the whole world. Yeah, and the best part is this particular material here is actually made of recycled plastics. So for every square meters of this material on the wall, you save 10 plastic bottles. Yeah. So that's, we have the Cool Plus, which is our cementitious material. So we have also the paint solution as well. So we have gone a step beyond by integrating recycled plastics and then creating a membrane, which is right here. You can see that it's actually a live installation. So the whole purpose of this development is to make sure that this material is being applied fast. So with this technology, you can actually apply this thing 1/10 the time required for plastering and painting. Yeah, so you can see the guys actually putting on the membrane on the ceiling. And that's a live site, and skillfully cutting off the excess, just like a wallpaper. So tomorrow, you do not need to plaster your wall anymore. You do not need to paint your wall anymore. All you need to do is just to apply what we call the 365 RPET. And let's talk about the numbers. So how do I do this again? Yeah. So just imagine you have an area of 10,000 square meters. And this 10,000 square meters, by using our solution, you'll be saving 100,000 plastic bottles from going to the landfill. Yeah. And the investment cost is $186,000. And then you typically have a savings about 17.5% on the electrical cost. And that's your 1.2 years of ROI. And after that, beyond that, you'll be making
Thank you, Leonard. That's all the time we have for your presentation. We will now be moving on to the Q&A from our judges. We have 5 minutes on the clock. Judges, anybody would like? I think Manohar, you've got a question, or Magnus. Manohar first, maybe.
Yeah, first, thanks for the very interesting presentation. Has this been, two questions from me before I pass on to my colleagues. Has this been tried anywhere and delivered the results that you have claimed in your presentation? Point number one. Point number two, is this to put on walls or on ceilings, right? Because from my basic understanding, the heat effect is most rampant on the walls, right? But the demonstration that you were giving is more on the ceilings, or it doesn't matter. So those two questions first, yeah. Okay,
so when we started the company right after COVID, I came back to Singapore and then I started this venture. And in the past 1 year, we have about 50% of the critical infrastructure customers trying our products already. Yeah. And the results are all quantified, and it's actually all here.
These are your quantified results?
That's correct. So this is actually typically the results that we get. So the green is actually the air temperature, and the blue is actually the wall temperature. Right. So after application, the air temperature is always hotter than the ceiling or the wall temperature. So we potentially may have the solution for the urban heat island effect.
Can you talk a little bit about why you are the right person to build this and the team you have behind you to implement and make this a huge success? And congrats on the progress.
I've spent half my life in researching on plastic materials, because I believe that plastic materials will not be there for us forever. It's from fossil fuels. So if we move towards renewable energy one day, then where are we going to get all the plastics from? So I've always been very committed to make sure and to prove to people that the plastic materials that you throw out of the house today will be very useful if you put it back into the house tomorrow. Yeah.
Could you let me know a little bit about the technology and the IP behind that, as well as your go-to-market? Because at the moment, I'm sure that you've come across, there are various competing products, whether it's cool coating, cool paint, or whatever. So could you let me know about your go-to-market and as well as the IP in that? Thanks.
Okay, so I think you've heard about the news recently in Europe about heat waves in France, the UK, and all that. And all these buildings have insulation materials. And why are the insulation materials not helping them? Because those insulation materials are designed to keep them warm. They're not designed to keep them cold. So my technology is supposed to keep the heat out and save the energy that you need. It's different from mineral wool and all that stuff. Yeah. So our technology evolves not by the amount of thickness that you need, but it's based on the reflection of the correct spectrum of the energy that we do not need, and that's infrared. So instead of trapping the heat in the wool, we are now pushing the heat away from us. So we are like typically building an icebox environment over our homes. Yeah. So if you have the same amount of ice that they put in a pail versus the same amount of ice they put in an icebox, the amount of ice in the icebox probably lasts you for 3 days, but the ones in the pail will probably last you for an hour. So that's exactly the whole concept of energy conservation is all about. Yeah.
We have about 1:10. I think Magdalene had a question.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. I was just wondering, is it a limiting factor in terms of the plastics that you collect? There is a lot of plastic waste. A lot of the solution providers, one of the key challenges is that of the collection of the waste. Is there an issue in terms of getting the volumes up for yourself?
Okay, so majority of the plastics right now, they are actually being recycled for bottle-to-bottle applications. So what we're actually using is the 93% of the bottle to fibers. That's basically the waste that people do not want. So we are converting these materials that people do not want into sustainable materials that continue to save energy for buildings. Yeah.
You work with the waste collectors, or?
We actually in the midstream, so we have the machines and all that to churn out the fibers and all that. So we actually collect the fibers from different sources. Yeah. Sometimes it could be virgin, sometimes it could be mixed, and so on.
I'm sorry, you have about 12 seconds left. So thank you very much, Leonard, for answering those questions. Can we give him a warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leonard. Up next, we invite our second pitch to take the stage, and innovation also from Singapore. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Dee Han, the CTO at RC Tech, presenting us the technology, radiative cool coatings, addressing the challenge statement, low carbon transition. Dr. Dee Han, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm Han Di. I'm from RC Tech. We are a company provide energy-free cooling solutions for sustainable future. Our solutions can provide advanced cool paints with the combination of enhanced solar reflectivity and also enhanced thermal emissivity. This is the concept of radiative cooling. By reducing the indoor energy cooling energy for over 20%, we can also increase the thermal comfort and lower the surrounding air temperature. The products are applicable across multiple site types, and also we can provide a short payback with high return on investment. So as we all know, our buildings are heated by the sun during the daytime. Without cool paint, the building will absorb more heat. The surface temperature and the outdoor temperature will be increased. With conventional cool paint, by increased solar reflection, the building surface temperature and the outdoor temperature will be decreased, and the cooling energy will be decreased also. However, with our radiative cool paints, we have increased the solar reflection. Also, we have increased the thermal emission across the atmosphere window. Through this window, the thermal emission will go out to the outer space. So the buildings will absorb less heat, and the surface temperature and the outdoor temperature will be decreased further. So the cooling energy use will be decreased. During the nighttime, the building will release less heat at night. So we can achieve a more comfortable and less energy used for cooling. Our Singapore has a standard on the cool paints, SS678, but our cool paint can achieve a much higher performance, cooling performance than the conventional cool paint, because we can achieve a sub-ambient temperature, which means that when applying our paint on the cool paint on the surface, the surface can achieve a temperature which is lower than the surrounding air temperature. For our market competitor analysis, our advantage is the higher performance at comparable price, and also we have no specialized requirements, and also we have a service package to help the stakeholders meet energy targets. For the case studies, we have applied our cool paint on the industrial site. and a 20-degree drop in surface temperature on the roof is achieved. For the commercial site office building, we have achieved energy consumption reduction is around 26% to 46%. And also the payback is 1.1 to 2.1 years. Over 5 years, the annual ROI is around 1.37 to 3.37. For the potential capital land assets, we can say that we can apply our coatings on the roofs, sidewalls, outdoor furniture, shelter roofs, and also the outdoor components, for example, the ESS tanks cold storage. Because our coating can be applied on the concrete, metal, and also wood. This is the improvement timeline. From the site identification to the data analysis is around 18 months. And also the demonstration estimate costing is around 300K. So that is the background of our RC Tech. We are spin-off from the NTU, and that's all for my presentation. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dihan. We will open the floor for questions with our judges. Chikit,
yeah. With regard to it's applicable to the ceiling. So to the roof. So it's only the top floor that will have the reduction, the benefits from the reduction in temperature?
Yeah, the top floor will be the most influenced floor because we apply on the roof. Also, we also apply on the sidewall and the roofs. We have case studies for the a factory. We apply on the roof, sidewall, and the roofs, and we found that the surrounding air temperature can be reduced by 2 degrees. So it can be increase the thermal comfort for the pedestrians.
Okay, thanks.
Magnus?
Great. Big congrats on the progress. Can you talk a little bit about the underlying technology, patents, IP?
Yeah. Our I think let me say it in this way. Our technology is based on the radiative cooling. Radiative cooling means that we can, for example, in this way. On one hand, we increase the solar reflection. On another hand, we increase the thermal emission within 8 to 13 micron. It's the mid-infrared wavelength. Within this wavelength, the atmosphere is transparent. So the radiation will go through the atmosphere to the outer space. So the heat will not be trapped under our environment. So it will not cause the urban heat island or something else. So this is the mechanism of our technology.
Any IP patents pending? Anything?
Yeah, we have got 2 IP for this radiative cooling paint, different formulation. Yeah.
There are quite a bit of other cooling paints out there. Can I understand a little bit when you're talking about the slide on your competitive, like how do you compare to some of the other peers from a pricing standpoint? Because I guess as a consumer, people will be very focused on the immediate impact from a cooling standpoint, but may be a bit, may not really pay that much attention on the atmospheric point, right? So how do you compare yourself on that front?
I think our selling point is our products can achieve temperature which is below the ambient air temperature. So it means that the surface temperature can be a natural heat sink, which also means cold source. So it's a passive cooling cold source. So this is our biggest selling point compared to the commercial cool paint. We have a higher performance at a comparable price.
Manohar?
You had that example of that building in One North, which is in Singapore, right? Can you just go to that slide? Are those, yeah. So are these figures measured figures for this building?
Yeah.
And if so, where was this? Where was this layer put? Only on the roof, or where was this?
For this case study, we apply the cool paint on the roofs, roofs, and the sidewall.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
The roof, rows in the sidewall.
The whole side wall of the building?
The whole sidewall. This
It's
one.
a huge building. You put it on the whole side wall,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
one side wall.
The whole sidewall. The two, and you can see these two buildings. This called Cayenne. We call this sidewall. These two sidewall, face by face. Yeah, and for this one, we only paint the roof, and we test the top floor.
Sorry, I still don't get it. Where did you put the thing again? On the roof and the side wall?
Side wall, facade.
Yeah, but it's huge. So on the whole facade, you put it across.
The whole
I
facade.
built that building, so I know it's a huge building. So it's on the whole facade.
Yeah. Because it's a factory, so we paint the whole facade. But this one, for this commercial building, we only paint the roof, the top floor, the top surface.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I'm just referring to this one, to this Fusionopolis building. It's only the roof, and then you achieve these savings?
Yeah, this savings is for the top floor.
For the top floor?
Top
only
floor.
the top floor?
Yeah.
Okay. So you put it on the roof, and this savings is only for the top floor?
Yeah, correct. This is the, yeah.
Okay.
We have about 50 seconds left. You want to squeeze in one final question?
Just one final question. If you compare yourself versus the other cool paints, and you mentioned that because of that added component, you can actually bring it even cooler. So for example, if I put two buildings next to each other, the normal cool paint would say bring it out to ambient temperature. Yours can be cooler. So does that mean that technically you should be able to save even more on energy, but the numbers seem to be coming in at quite on par?
Because this one, the thermal insulation on the top floor is sacrifice our energy saving. Yeah, because
Understand. But in other case studies?
Other case studies, for example, the metal roof, it can because you can see that 20-degree drop in the surface temperature. For metal, because there's no thermal insulation, so the temperature reduction is much larger than the concrete surface. Yeah.
Okay, that's all the time we have. Thank you very much, Dr. Dehan. Can we give him a warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? I believe we're all set for our third pitch for this afternoon, and it is from Malaysia. With a warm round of applause, let's welcome Mr. Bernard Sagayaraj, CTO at Blue Snow Frontier Technologies, presenting us with the technology Equine Heat Transfer Fluid, addressing the challenge statement in low carbon transition. Time is all yours, Bernard.
Good evening. Today I'm going to talk to you about Equine, which is a graphene-based nanofluid that works within the chill water closed loop of a central cooling plant. Now, we spent many years in energy optimization of chiller plants, design, and energy audits. And then we were looking for some new direction in how to further improve the energy efficiency of these plants, because the major issue that we had was building cooling. So cooling is a big energy consumer in a building, right? So let me just give you an idea about what Equine is. I'm having a problem with this. Okay. So graphene is a hydrophobic material. Hydrophobic meaning it doesn't like water. So we use our patented technology to make it into a perfect suspension. And with that, it improves the heat thermal performance of water. So you can see that thermal conductivity has gone up, thermal diffusivity has gone up, and that's the reason why it actually improves the energy performance of chilled water plants. Now, while maintaining the same similar flow properties of water. Now, here you see a full cooling system, and for you, those who understand, this basically is moving heat from inside to the outside, and you have our focus is on the closed loop. If you look at the closed loop, this is where we are, our focus is on this area where we bring in the Equine concentration. And once the Equine concentration has filled up the entire closed loop, we can remove the dispersion unit away. And then it stays inside the closed loop unless there's some kind of leakage or something. Now, we use Tri Damansara Petaling Jaya as our case study. We estimated close to about 54,000 liters. We saw an annual savings of 77,000 USD, about 15% lower than baseline. Payback period in terms of Malaysian rates, because it's a Malaysian project, was 4.2 years. With Singapore rates, we use SP rates, we got 2.6 years payback, much better. And you can see this is one of the projects we have implemented in Kuching in Sarawak under JKR. This has been there for 2.5 years. And it's still maintaining the same performance, and we didn't need any additional water treatment. Now, in terms of scalability, we have sort of looked at CapitaLand's portfolios, very interesting, very wide, and very global. We don't see any issue with scalability because we now also sending our Aquene concentration or dispersion to France, UAE, and even Australia now. And typically with those countries, or even in Malaysia, we work with channel partners. Channel partners, they help us to do the Aquene deployment and the measurement and verification. And with these channel partners, typically it's an outright purchase model. We are also open to other zero capex models like EPCs and fixed payment. We actually price it in US dollars 6 per liter. This liter means liter of closed loop volume of the chiller plant. But we can adjust this pricing because, let's say for a district cooling plant, you have much more volume than a normal plant. So we probably need to bring the price down, but then we win on scale. In terms of tariffs, many countries have different tariffs. So if I were doing this project in Australia, I could up it up to $7 per liter, just to maintain the same payback. Gross margins on Aquene is about 40 to 60%, and that also depends on the margins we give our distributor. Typically, it's about 15 to 20%. Now, two of our competitors use metal oxide nanoparticles. Now, that gives a big problem to the seals and gaskets of rotating machinery. We use graphene, it's carbon-based, there's no issue with that. Graphene is actually a natural corrosion inhibitor. We are the only nanofluid in this application that comes together with a food-grade application. It's a very stable formulation due to our patent. We also look at indirect competition, but we call them complementary, like magnetic bearing chillers, AR optimization, we have these. In fact, we put them together, we get enhanced savings together with Aquene. Now we have moved away from cooling. Now we're moving into heating, data center direct-to-chip cooling, EV thermal systems, and photovoltaic cooling as well. Finally, I lead a very diverse and hybrid team of energy modelers, cooling experts, green building consultants, and we are consistently applying this to improve the go-to-market time of Aquene. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bernard. It's time for our judges to ask questions. I'd like to remind you to perhaps hold the mic a bit closer.
Closer, thank you.
Of our Q&A. Judges? Magnus, maybe?
Great progress, very exciting. Can you talk a little bit about where you are? You showed a bit the future there, but where are you in terms of kind of revenue generation versus MVP? Like, when will you hit your first $1 million in ARR?
Although we've been running our consulting company for a long time, in terms of this product, we're still a startup. We just got our first order about, I think, 340,000 ringgit for a small application. We are constantly doing very small projects, bootstrapping it and doing our own projects in hospitals, and like what you saw, most of it all bootstrapped. But of course, obviously, we're looking for funding to look at all the scale up for the heating market as well.
Yvonne?
Could you share a little bit about your kind of go-to-market? You mentioned that there's a channel partner that you're working with, but is it as easy as just selling these bottles and putting it in the water area, or do you actually need to kind of service it? What's the lifespan of this? Does it dirty my water tank after that? Like, could you give us a bit of color around that?
Sure. When we produce Aquene, it becomes in a slurry form. So I always call it also as a Coca-Cola model, where Coca-Cola is made in Atlanta in terms of syrup, and they send it to bottling plants to be diluted and made into the Coke cans and all that you see. So same thing, we send a sort of a thick dispersion to our distributors. We teach them how to deploy this into a cooling plant. Before we deploy into an existing cooling plant, we have to prepare the closed loop, because different operators put different kinds of chemicals into the closed loop. Remember, I said earlier that ours is a food-grade system. So if we use our system, we don't have to use any more nitrites or biocides, which are very toxic. It also meets your ESG targets. Once we have trained our distributors in doing that, we just sell them self-concentrate. And it's as easy as then just putting it into the system.
But once it's in the system, it stays? Is there a shelf life for the liquid and all that? Or is it just one finish?
Okay, that's a question that's difficult for me to answer, because the longest period I've had it is 2.5 years. We typically tell our potential clients 6 years. It stays for 6 years. We know our competition is telling that it stays for 10 years. I don't think we should say that. So 6 years is something that we say. After 6 years, we do a test, sort of a checkup. If it's still giving the same energy performance, leave it in. Don't change it. Unless there's a major leak in the system, then we don't need to top it up.
Manohar?
So, where have you implemented this so far, and how have the results been?
So, all of this is only in Malaysia. Now, actually, the tech deck has all of it. A hospital in Penang. The one that you saw just now was in Astana in Kuching, and one university in Malaysia. And we are looking at a couple of new projects now coming on in Thailand.
So the performance in all these projects has been consistent?
They are the one you reach that particular percentage is consistent, but some seem to be getting different results. So the hospital is getting a 15.3%, Astana was 30%, the other one was 25.3%. So not every plant has the same impact in terms of savings.
And the installation of this graphene solution into this system is quite straightforward, is it? Or do you need access? Do you need special access to it? Can it only be done in places where you have the possibility to access the air conditioning system?
We need access to the chill water plant. So most chill water plants are in the basement. Some of them on the rooftop. If it's a rooftop, then we use a smaller unit to do the dispersion. So if it's a ground level, we can bring like a truck with our dispersion unit. So we can do, normally we do about 9,000 liters turnaround per day. So if your system has 100,000 liters, you can just divide by 9,000. 10 days, you can do it. But if it's a rooftop, I need to bring a smaller unit. My conversion time will take longer, but I'm not impacting the operations of the plant. I don't need to shut down the plant. I do it like a dialysis model.
We have about 20 seconds. Is there any maybe final thought?
Maybe I just squeeze a quick question. Sure. Yeah, I just wanted to understand, you mentioned that you have competitors, similar, if not similar products perhaps. How do you compare with them, especially in terms of the cost competitiveness? Yeah.
So in terms of price or just overall?
Overall, yeah.
Okay. In terms of price, I'll start with price. In terms of price, I think we are 20% cheaper than the other three that you saw. I put a list up there. Now, like I mentioned, two of them use metal oxide. So one uses zinc oxide, the other one uses aluminum oxide nanoparticles. Those are very abrasive to piping systems. The other one, I think, is just got acquired by ABB. I think they are using some kind of a carbon nanotube. Now, I think it's advantageous to, when we started our R&D, we went straight to graphene. We didn't want to look at any other metal nanoparticles. Again, the benefits we have, like graphene is a natural corrosion inhibitor. So it's got a lot of benefits from the other competitors. And I know some of these metal oxide competitors are now trying to move to graphene now.
Okay, I believe that's all the time. Can we please give Bernard a warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you. Right, we're all set for our fourth pitch, and this is an innovation from Singapore. Please welcome Mr. Chua Wee Kang, Director of Miredo Asia, who will be presenting us the technology Mire Cool Energy Saving HVAC Additive. This will be addressing the challenge statement, low carbon transition. Wee Kang?
Good. Hi everyone, I'm Wee Kang from Miredo Asia, and today I'm excited to share with you about Miracool, our scalable and impactful low energy saving solution that can help CapitaLand and also the world in our low carbon transition journey. So what's the problem? Well, heating and cooling buildings emits over 5 billion tons of carbon every year, accounting for over half of total emissions from buildings. Now, clearly the efficiency of HVAC systems is critical, and yet innovations have focused mainly on hardware and software, neglecting water, the crucial heat transfer element used in most HVAC systems. So what if there were a solution that was universally applicable to HVAC system water, where just a small amount added can enhance the system water so that it can boost system efficiency and help save significant energy? Well, Miracool is just a solution. So it's designed for all HVAC systems with closed water loops, and 100 liters of system water requires adding just 1 liter of Miracool to save up to over 30% energy. It's easy to install without disruption. And it is certified safe for systems, and it's also has a proven track record and requires just a one-time application. Now you may ask, how does Miracool work? So first, let's look at these surprising examples of what is the property about water that prevents these objects that are denser or heavier from otherwise sinking inside. Well, if your guess is due to the surface tension of water, creating a barrier effect, you're exactly right. Now, it's the same high surface tension barrier effect that creates a problem when we look at the heat exchangers. Because of the rough microsurfaces of the heat exchangers in HVAC systems, the water is unable to penetrate and leaving gaps and resulting in poor surface contact and poor heat transfer. Now, what if we add 1% Miracool to this water in this solution? So first, the surface tension of the water decreases significantly by over 70%, breaking the surface of the water. And now, water is able to penetrate deeply into the crevices of the heat exchanger, achieving much better surface contact and also improved heat transfer. So here's a visual demonstration. On the left, you see just normal water. It cannot penetrate into the fine mesh. And on the right, you can see water with Miracool. It can actually penetrate into the mesh. So when we applied Miracool to the chilled water system of this WebHelp office building, we achieved over 30% or 48,000 kilowatt hours of energy savings, 13 tons of carbon reduction, and also a payback in just 6 months. Now, what if we were to apply our solution to an actual CapitaLand asset? Thanks to data kindly provided by CapitaLand for this commercial office located in Pune, India, we project that typically, with a 20% savings, we can achieve over 100 tons of annual carbon reduction and a 70% ROI, or payback time of 1.4 to as short as potentially under 1 year. Now, across the board for CapitaLand, if we applied our solution to all of CapitaLand's properties, we estimate we can help contribute over 180 million kilowatt hours, or over twice the distance to target for CapitaLand's energy usage intensity KPIs, and also over 30% of distance to target for CapitaLand's carbon scope reduction KPIs. Globally, increasing the efficiency of HVAC systems by 20% would mean over 1 billion tons of carbon reduction, which is more than the entire annual emissions of Japan, and over $500 billion of energy cost savings, which is comparable to the entire GDP of Singapore. Now, in summary, Miracool is a universally scalable solution that's applicable to all HVAC water systems, building types, and geographies. It's easy to deploy. It's also a compelling innovation that delivers attractive ROI with a payback of about 1 year, delivering superb value. And finally, there's significant opportunity for impact because of the greenfield market potential and over $100 billion of estimated total addressable market value. Now, to roll out and scale our solution, we'll be working with both end users and industry partners. We're working with ESCOs, ESD consultants, HVAC OEMs, and also FM service providers. And we're also conducting further R&D to enhance system performance while reducing costs. So my co-founder, Jonathan, and myself both have strong technical background and also extensive experience in business and startups. And our company, Mirido Asia, also has a strong track record of delivering award-winning sustainable solutions for the built environment. So we believe our solution can help accelerate the world's low-carbon transition journey, and we're excited to work with CapitaLand and everyone to help make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wee Kang. Right on the 5-minute dot, which leaves us 5 minutes for questions from our judges. Chiki.
Yeah, sorry, have you tested it out in tropical climates? Because your projection is basically based on the UK testing, and then you scale up on the savings that you have, right?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so great question. So we are actually, I think, so we, for Miracle itself, we are actually working out and we are planning a pilot actually with OCBC. Recently, just very recently, yeah, we actually were awarded the SGBC OCBC Built Environment Decarbonization Challenge. So we're going to be piloting for one of OCBC's buildings, OCBC Center in the CBD area.
Yvonne?
Can I understand a bit about the IP behind the liquid? What's in that? Because a lot of other things like even detergent can actually break water tension. So just wondering what's in there.
Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, so yeah, you're right. Detergents can also reduce the surface tension, but our solution actually, if I can go back, it reduces the surface tension by the most significant amount. Basically, basically we reduce the surface tension by over 70%, and this allows the water to really penetrate into these rough surfaces of the heat exchanger. Basically all surfaces are actually rough at the microscopic level. And furthermore, we cannot use basic detergents because, chemicals that reduce surface tension, they're called surfactants, right? So, if you use a normal surfactant, they're actually ions. Ions are bad for the system because they can cause corrosion. In the chilled water system, you have metal pipes that can be prone to corrosion if you use ion. So our surfactant is actually a special blend, proprietary blend of non-ionic silicon-based surfactants that does not cause corrosion. In fact, we have the reports, I believe it's shared in the technical deck. If you had time, I couldn't include it here. But we have reports showing that our solution actually causes less corrosion than just pure water. Yeah, so equivalent or less corrosion.
Okay, so this is put in the chiller water cycle, is it?
That's right.
Chiller. So question is, how long does it last? Do you need to replace it? Point number one. Point number two is, how is the installation? Straightforward? Doesn't matter where the chiller is?
Yeah,
this
so
one looks like just drinking milk. So is it just like we put water in our windscreen wiper, or what is it? How does it work?
Sorry, you mean this one? This. Okay, so basically, yeah, great questions, Mr. Mohan. So first, how long does our solution last? Basically, the solution actually is very stable. It's chemically inert and stable. So it doesn't react with the system or cause any corrosion. And it can last, the lifetime, the half-life of the chemical is actually over like about 100 years. So it can last for effectively the lifetime of the system. Yeah, because it's a very stable compound, silicon-based. It's a blend of compounds. And secondly, sorry, your second question was how do we apply it to the system, right? So basically, we just, it's just added into the chilled water loop. So a closed chilled water loop of the system. Let's say you have 10,000 liters of water. You just require adding 100 liters of our Miracle solution into the system, and it can be typically added with through a dosing pod. Sorry, I don't have the picture here, but the dosing pod is, it's a pretty standard part of the chilled water loop or the closed any heating or chilled water loops where chemicals are added into the system. So it's called a chemical dosing pod or a bypass feeder.
So you add 1%, right? 1 part to 100, right?
That's right.
That's
right.
One part
so
to
it's
100.
it's very easy to install. So basically, we don't need. We can just install it in basically typically 1 day for any system, because it's only a small amount that's required to be added.
How do you compare to your top competitors, if there are any, in terms of cost and efficiency? And can you combine this with the solutions we just saw earlier in terms of increasing connectivity?
Sorry, the last part I couldn't catch.
So we saw a similar kind of optimization project earlier.
Okay.
We were just looking
So,
at increasing the heat conductivity.
Okay, yes.
Can you combine your product with
Our solution actually increases heat conductivity by more compared to the other nanoparticle solutions that we have seen on the market. In terms of cost, I think our solution is about a few dollars per liter, so it's significantly lower than just now the solution that was shared, and also other solutions.
Yeah, but yours focuses on reducing the water tension, and the other one's focuses on increasing the conductivity of heat, right? So I would assume that combining them could have an even bigger effect.
That could be possible.
And have you looked at that?
So yeah, we are actually currently looking at that, but because there is we want to be very careful because using particles, right, can cause problems. Because you can think of it as sandblasting away the seals, and also they can also aggregate. These particles can possibly aggregate and also cause blockages in the chiller plant or the heating system. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I believe that's all the time we have. Thank you very much, Wee Kang. Can we give him a warm round of applause? We are ready for our fifth pitch to take the stage. This is an innovation from Hong Kong, China. Please welcome Ms. Penny Chong, co-founder and CEO of Green Vigor, presenting the technology Hydro Vigor and addressing the challenge statement in low carbon transition. Penny, please.
Hello everyone, I'm Penny, co-founder and CEO of Green Vigor. Now, I want you all to imagine this. Every time you use water in your home, office, factory, or even data center, you can generate green electricity for large-scale decarbonization in urban area. Here why it matters. As to fulfill the huge demand of water usage in our daily life, globally there are 5 to 8% of total electricity is consumed by your water supply system. Without Hydro Vigor, this untapped energy escapes as noise and turbulence inside our building's water tank. But we don't want to waste this energy. We need clean energy right now. Even garbage can recycle. Why not this untapped hydropower? Now, let me introduce you. Hydro Vigor. An on-site patent modular hydropower recycle system installed directly in your building's water tank and connect to the inner water pipe to harness the untapped kinetic energy and transform to the valuable electricity to power your building's need. For example, the lighting system in your car park or lobby. But why should we use Hydro Vigor? Our 4 kW system Hydro Vigor module can generate same electricity as 62 pieces of 500 watt solar panel, empowering 10 families' need. 24/7 operation, more stable and predictable. Zero infrastructure change is fit to existing and new water tank. Scalable modular design is featured to fit any tank size, chemical-free, maintenance light, and easy for installation. Just needs 4 to 6 hours only. Compared to solar panel with 4 kW system, Hydro Vigor save 99.6% of space use and also a longer lifespan of 20 or 30 years without performance decline, no waste producers, and also fast ROI. Actually, hydropower is the strongest renewable energy sources in the world, and compared to other, accounting 42% of global renewable energy production. Now, let's talk about the real-world impact. 6 modules of Hydro Vigor will be installed in Hong Kong Kai Tak 1 Victoria, a surge water tank for outdoor swimming pool. Have a 24-hour filtering system. And its 6 module is same as 372 solar panel and delivering at least 20% of electricity saving for per year. Per module. And also our payback period is about 4 to 6 months. I'm really excited Hydro Vigor will be installed in Shanghai Innovation Center. This module can generate maximum 17,000 kilowatt hour per year. And also the payback is about 2 to 3 years. The clean energy generated by hydro rigger will be powered to the building's use. Is through the inverter and connect to the circuit board. The real-time data can visualize on our cloud platform. And this project included site visit, baseline measurement, installation, and also the water quality test. It takes around 3 to 6 months. For the potential, if 1,271 units of CapitaLand properties install hydro rigger, the group can save 18.6 gigawatt hour per year and also reduce 13,000 tons of CO2 emissions. Now, hydro rigger is accessible and affordable. We have outright purchase program for our client and also have the rental model built on pay as you save. And hydro rigger representing $615 billion market opportunity per year with 4 billion global water tank projected by 2050. Since we launched hydro rigger in January this year, we are scaling up and we plan to install 100 modules in Asia within two years. Hydro rigger is more than a product. It's a sustainable solution. With its scalability and also simplicity, it's perfect fit for all CapitaLand properties. Now let's work together to have a greener and better future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Penny. Right, judges?
Congrats on this. I just wondered, so obviously in like Norway, for example, the water pressure is created by gravity, right? So it's water is flowing down from the mountains. But in Singapore, I assume water is pumped into these buildings. So power is used to get it up there.
Yeah.
And if you install your system, then you take away part of that power as it flows down.
Okay.
Because you create resistance for the pumps, right?
Yeah, that's good questions.
So what, you know, and then if you transfer energy twice, then obviously you lose energy on the way, right? So I'm just wondering, in kind of what proportion of your kind of markets can you use gravity? Because then it makes perfect sense. And then how do you think about those cases where you actually create more resistance for pumps and the energy waste that goes into that?
Good questions. And actually, for the swimming pool, you're right. The water is filtered, go down to the surge water tank by gravitational force. And then because of our huge demands of usage of water, and actually for the pump the water to the rooftop is need the energy, but it has some existed energy. So we capture that energy, and it is the recyclable energy to generate the electricity. And some cases, because for the whole buildings, there are basement water tank and also some rooftop water tank. In the base, we find out that in the basement water tank, the hydropower is some combine the potential energy and some pumping energy from the government side, the pumping station, right? So actually it is huge, yeah. So we can recycle, so that's why we call hydropower recycle system, recycle the energy, yeah. And also the resistant force, right? Yeah. Because we think about that because before there are some innovation is installed in the water pipe, is in line, but we find out that they are it is failed because they have generated the resistant force to the pump and also block the whole water supply system. So we design in the water tank, the water come out and then first, and then we, to our turbine and then transfer the energy. So even water hydro rigger is failed to work. We does not affect the water supply system. Yeah, the water will also go inside and for us to use.
Sorry, I still don't understand. Can you go back to your slide? So, so you said that you will harness the energy that is created by the waves and sound, right? You mentioned that. So at which point does this take place? Is when the water tank is being filled and at that point waves are created? Because at constant stage there will be no waves, right? The water is stagnant, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So are you saying that the point at which your equipment harnesses this energy is the point at which you are refilling the water tank?
And not really leaving the water tank is in.
Just go to your first, this one, yeah.
So without hydro rigger, actually the water is pumped from maybe from government side or from our buildings pumping inside or from gravitational and then go inside the water tank. It will stop actually because it will fill. Yeah, but we actually just recycle the energy from the water pipe. Yeah, and also we have considered to design to the leaving the water tank, but we are afraid it will affect or block the water tank, so affect all the water supply system. Yeah, so that's why we have do some research, and the most suitable place is the inlet pipe.
Sorry, in where?
Inlet pipe. Just outside the inlet pipe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yvonne, did you have a question?
Can I ask, just in terms of the case studies that you were sharing earlier, in terms of the installation, obviously it's a couple of months, but when we talk about the power that's generated from the retrofitting of your water tank, as a percentage of the total energy building, based on your scenarios, what's the percentage? Would this product be as a percentage of your energy consumption for the whole building?
Okay.
From a case study example.
Yeah. For the swimming pool, the case, actually they have 3 pumps to pump the water to the swimming pool and then go down by gravitational to the surge water tank. One module actually can cover 25% of the pumping power usage. So that means because they have 2 pipes, and each pipe we need to install 3 modules of hydro rigger to collect all the hydropower because it's quite strong actually. So 1 is not enough. We have 3, and then totally 2 pipes. So we have 6 modules here. So we can cover all the energy by the pumping, and also they can earn more electricity.
Okay, and in the building example, you were running the scenario for the building in Shanghai, right?
Oh yeah.
You gave a range of around 7,000 to like 17,000. At 7,000 or at 17,000, what would that be as a percentage of the total building?
Yeah, because this is the business park, and it depends how many people they're working in the park. But for the pipe size, actually, it's big. I think for the design of the building, they estimate there are how many people they are using, so they have the big pipe. So we have got so that's why the range is quite big. Yeah, because so we count as maximum. Yeah.
What's the percentage?
So
if you get the hydropower, your hydro rigger running, what would be the percentage of water generated energy as a percentage of the total energy of the building today?
Okay, I'm sorry, because we do not have this kind of data. Yeah, we just calculate from the pipe size and those also the volume of the water tank and estimate how many people working there. Yeah.
I believe that's all the time we have for questions. Can we give Penny a warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Penny, if you could remain on stage, please. We have our next segment of the program, and we are going to be inviting our first 5 finalists up on stage as we welcome them back for our lightning round. Now, if you didn't manage to ask your questions before, now will be a fantastic time. For those of us present, I do believe the QR code is right there on the screens if you'd still like to ask those questions. And for our virtual audience, I believe the link is in the chat as well. All right, I do believe we're ready to go. All right, the first one is to NVGel and RC Tech. If both of your solutions were to be stacked and applied, one indoor and the other outdoor wall or roof, will there be incremental improvement? Either can answer first. NVGel, maybe? Yeah. Leonard?
Okay, so actually NVGel can be applied outside and inside as well. Yeah, so we do have the reflective paint and also the insulation paint as well. We have the full range of construction materials. But typically, if you have application on outside, you will probably reflect about 90 to 91% of the solar radiation, which is really good. And then that leaves about 9% of the energy that's going to be stored in the concrete. So what NVGel 365 will actually do is to prevent the additional 9% from coming into the internal space. Yeah, so what you will have is basically a wall, which is going to be much cooler than your room. Yeah, so that means you have zero energy loss from a thermal exchange of an aircon to a heated wall.
RC Tech?
Yeah, for our radial cooling pane, it can be only applied on the outer layer of the buildings. But our paint can achieve around 95% solar reflection so that it can prevent around 95% solar heat from the under the direct sunlight. So I think if combined with the NV gel, I think the increment will be, the performance will be increased further.
Okay. Let's have the next question up here. This, I believe, is for Miracool. What was the improvement in ACMV or chiller plant efficiency? Wei-Kang?
Hi. Yeah, thank you for the question. So basically, we look at the improvement efficiency in terms of the chiller itself and also the chill water pumps. And typically, we can see about 20% improvement, so ranging from 15% to over 30%.
Okay.
Thank you.
Our next question. This is for Hydro Vigor. Back to you, Penny. Are all the materials used in those equipment food grade standard, and will there be a risk of water contamination if the interior of the equipment cannot be clean?
Okay, thank you for your questions. About the food grade, actually, I think the water tank by concrete, stainless steel, and also the glass fiber, they are not food grade actually, I think, but it is safe. So we use the same materials as the water tank. And also, especially for some swimming pool, they have chemical water, and in Hong Kong, there's seawater for the toilet flushing. We use another materials to resist the seawater. For that, yeah. So it is safe, and we also have done do the test for the materials, yeah, and also the performance test. And oh, okay, cleaning, because we will provide maintenance every year, just like you wash your water tank every year, clean your water tank every year, and we will check it out. And also, because there is, every time the water is, is flushing our machine, our hydro rigger. So it will not, I think, but we will check it, but I think it is not too dirty, yeah.
Thank you. We have another question coming through. This is for a queen, so I think we'll hand the mic over to Bernard. Does the product work for heating in temperate climates as well as cooling in tropical climates?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you remember my slide, our next progression is for the heating plants. And based on experiments that we have done in the lab, it actually works better in heating than cooling. So we're excited to get into the Scandinavian market soon.
Fantastic. Thank you. Move on to our next question. This is for Miracool. So 30% savings on a 0.65 kilowatt per ton chiller, and it will reduce to 0.57 kilowatt per ton after installation?
Yeah, I guess let me just use my calculator, but
yeah, it's a pretty technical question. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, so my calculator is showing like 0.45, but yeah, I think it's pretty close. Maybe about 0.5.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have another question coming through for Hydro Vigor. Yes. What is the smallest size unit? Smallest unit size, and is it a technology that can be used in remote or island settings aspiring to be off-grid or off-generator?
Okay, the smaller size, do you mean that our hydro rigger or the smaller size tank? Yeah, actually our size is 70 cm times 70 cm and also 15 cm. And for our POC, we have done it in a 2,000 liter water tank. Actually, it's a small water tank. We can put one module in that. But for the swimming pool, that one, the surge water tank is 38,000 liter. So we can put 6 modules in that. So I think the tank size is So not smaller than 2,000 liter, we can install it. And for the remote, that's good questions. Because of the off-grid, we can connect to the battery, actually. One of our clients from Mexico, they have supply of the electricity is not stable. So they require us to connect to the battery for use. Yeah.
Okay. We have a question. Let's bring that up here. This is for NVGel. Maybe we can hand the mic over. How is the insulation performance of your paint compared to the polyurethane foam jacket that are used for the insulation of aircon systems? And do you intend to move that into the market?
Okay, so typically polyurethane is actually pretty good because the way it is being manufactured is the byproduct is CO2. So CO2 is actually a very low thermal conductivity material. But the problem with polyurethane foam is the cell and the skin that is giving it the enclosure for the airspace is pretty thin. So over time, the vapor and the moisture actually get soaked in. So that's why you see a lot of polyurethane material gets wet after a while. And then the performance of the aircon system is actually compromised. Yeah, because it's wet. So our technology is actually dependent on a closed cell system. And this closed cell system is not going to be damaged by water pressure or hydrostatic pressure. So we have actually done jobs for subsea pipelines as well, down to like 100, 200 meters. And this closed cell technology will not be collapsed. Yeah, so we are quite certain that this thing is probably going to last you for like 20, 30 years. And that means your energy conservation and efficiency is going to last you for 20, 30 years without change. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Our next question for radiative cool paints. Dr. Dehan, what is the expected lifespan of the coating under real-world conditions, say UV exposure, rain, pollution, etc.? And can you provide case studies or real-world installations that have shown savings?
The expected lifespan of our coating is 5 years. So it's comparable to the conventional, commercial cool paint. We have done a UV accelerating test in our lab, especially under the tropical climate. Yeah, the UV is very high, and also the raindrops is very high. So I think our performance is meet the requirements for the products, and also provide the case studies or just showing saving. I think in our slides, the GTC commercial side, that one is one case study that we have measured the energy saving on the top floor when we apply the cool coating on the roofs. And also recently we have a project in NTU. We have 2 buildings. We plan to apply the cool paint on the facade on the roof, but that one is still ongoing. We have measured the parameter before paint, but after painting is still ongoing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I believe we have time perhaps for one last question. Let's bring that up. This is for Queen, so Bernard, let's get the mic over to you. So far, your projects have been focused in Malaysia with some expansion in Southeast Asia. What are the main obstacles preventing your expansion towards Europe, US, or even China?
I think that the only obstacle is, resource and time. We are a small team right now. If I was to expand into those markets we put there, will take time. So at the moment, we're only focusing on ASEAN and the Middle East. We just opened an office in UAE end of last year, and that's already keeping us busy.
All right, thank you very much. Can we give all of them a warm round of applause? Thank you. Thank you for being part of our lightning round. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move on to our next group of finalists, we'd like to draw your attention to the screens before you for a video of the highlights of the pilots from our previous 3 editions. Enjoy. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? These amazing projects and technologies that have already been piloted or those that are in the process of being piloted. So we wish all our finalists all the best today, and we hope to see some real impact as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be moving on to our next group of finalists. Once again, each startup will have 5 minutes to take the stage and 5 minutes for a live Q&A with our judges. Judges, a kind reminder to enter your scores and confirm them as we go along. And to our audience, that was fantastic earlier with our lightning round. Please keep those questions coming through. For our live audience, we've got the QR code up there for the lightning round. And for our virtual audience, you have the link that is in your chat. It is now time to welcome our sixth pitch for today. It is an innovation from the United States. Please welcome Mr. Wang Yanping, founder and CEO of Gaia Mesh, presenting his technology. This last technology is the one that will be addressing the challenge statement in low carbon transition. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak on this stage. My name is Yan Ping, and I'm the founder and CEO of Gaia Mesh. Gaia Mesh makes your building smart overnight with our state-of-the-art wireless controls. So at Gaia Mesh, we've implemented for 30 clients over 250 projects around the world, helping them save energy without any disruption to their operations. Before founding Gaia Mesh, I was at Disney, leading an R&D team at Imagineering, so helping develop sustainable technologies for the theme parks, and then also did my PhD at Stanford in civil environmental engineering. So at Gaia Mesh, I lead a team of 20 experts in AIoT and building energy efficiency. So I'd like to see a show of hands. Has anyone looked inside a building control box before? Any property owners, building operators, or real estate investors? Anyone? So I have, and this is what it looks like. So this is my muse, this magical looking spaghetti of wire. This is what really captures the essence of the challenge of building controls today, right? And this complexity is such that when these systems are installed in most buildings around the world, they're either installed and they're broken or they're non-existent. So what that means is that there's a lot of trapped energy waste in the building, and the scale is huge. So we quantified about $5 US dollars of energy waste per square meter per year for buildings around the world on average. And that's about 8% of world carbon emissions. So if we could just capture half of that in terms of savings, we could unlock a $150 billion market. So enter Gaia Mesh, an AIoT control system that can be installed overnight. Our patented mesh technology enables us to optimize our control logic using AI, and that control logic is then distributed into a local wireless mesh control loops that can really make the system extremely fast, stable, and secure. And this is incorporated into our one-stop shop solution that enables up to 30% savings for our customers with under 2-year payback period. So how do you actually eliminate energy savings in your building? So first, you start by finding inefficiencies with a low-cost, sensor-driven health check. By installing these space monitors, smart plugs, and power monitors in the building, you can enable a very deep scan rapidly across your HVAC systems, your power systems, and also your plant. And this then generates a very detailed health check report that ranks all the different opportunities for energy savings by ROI and in terms of actual cost savings. Step 2 is to deploy self-optimizing controls by replacing your thermostats, your light switches, your circuit breakers with smart, intelligent IoT versions that are all embedded into our mesh that enables sophisticated control logic across the board. So the mesh enables us to cover entire properties from plant to plug to enable energy savings that are very significant for both landlords and tenants. So we start by balancing energy supply against demand in the tenant spaces and in the public areas of the building with very granular sensors and control networks. Second, we work backwards into the distribution area where we start to optimize the flow of the plant to save pumping energy without impacting comfort. And then finally, we use all the data from all the above to optimize chiller plant operations to further increase efficiency. So this stacks up about 50% of HVAC savings for the landlord and then also can achieve nearly 15% of electricity savings for the tenant. And since the landlord captures most of the savings, this means that the tenant can enjoy a basic version of the system for free, which solves this landlord-tenant split incentives problem. And by the way, you can also qualify both parties for a green lease certification. So we look to pilot this project on 2 potential pilots in Sanders Plaza and Hong Kong Longzhimeng. And the ROI calculates to about 500,000 RMB to 2 million RMB savings per year. And that is about 110% to 170% ROI. And this energy saving, this is ROI based on energy savings alone, right? So it doesn't include any labor savings, doesn't include any increase to the asset value. And the kicker is that in China, energy costs are very low. Compared to Singapore, it's about building energy costs are about 6x here. So if we can really nail the ROI in Shanghai, then think about how scalable this opportunity can be worldwide. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We now open the floor for questions. Judges, Yvonne?
As you can imagine, a lot of the existing oligopolies and building, the Johnsons, the Schneiders of the world, sorry, I know some of them may be in the crowd today, but they're obviously very tight with their data. By installing your own IoT, you essentially source your own data. You don't have to rely on them. But how are you going to work with some of the existing incumbents, your compatibility of your platform, etc.? If you could share a bit of color on that, that'd be great. Thanks.
That's a very good question. And the answer actually is they're not as close as you might think. Most of these, the major providers, they have their own edge connectors that you can really easily integrate with their data without having to have them come to site and work with you. So that's actually something we specialize. We can deploy an entirely new automation system for older buildings that don't have anything, or we're very good at also extending the existing systems and playing very nicely with the existing building automation providers. So we're kind of partners in that way.
So are you saying that are you installing, just to be clear, your own sensors, or are they off-market sensors and IoT equipment? Answer that first.
That's a great question. So it's actually a mix. So we develop the core devices ourselves, because this mesh network depends on, some of the nodes have special kind of roles in the mesh, where you have to, since we're integrating multiple protocols, some nodes are both doing like 2.4 gigahertz, sub-gigahertz communications, 4G. Those nodes that are doing a lot of work, those are hardware that we develop ourselves. What we're really excited about is that our mesh can be embedded in a huge ecosystem of IoT, like home IoT hardware that's developed in China, like by Xiaomi, for example. Very high quality, extremely low cost. But once you insert our mesh into those kinds of hardware, you can upgrade that into an entire B2B automation system. So it's a mix of our own hardware and also an ecosystem of third-party devices that can be kind of upgraded with our mesh.
Add on to that. So how does compatibility and cybersecurity related concerns, how are they addressed?
That's a great question. So compatibility and cybersecurity are two vastly different, very different answers for both of those. I think compatibility is dealt with usually one with industry standard protocols. We don't hack into devices because that voids the warranty. However, we can work with manufacturers to flash our firmware onto their hardware, right? So it's a supply chain partnership kind of model on compatibility side. In terms of the security aspect, that's especially top of mind for us. A lot of the other IoT providers, they are very cloud-based, and usually that disqualifies them from most sensitive projects. And I think what's very special about our technology is we do the optimization and configuration on a server or on a cloud, but most of the day-to-day logic is embedded inside the mesh. So even if internet goes away, even if a central hub goes down, everything keeps working, and it can be entirely air-gapped, plus everything is encrypted end-to-end with AES 256-bit security.
Can you talk a little bit about the scalability of this? So let's say you take on a new project. How much of this is the cost of kind of implementation is the plug and play of your system versus customization?
Right. So scalability is another really big topic. I think it's really, there's the commercial complexity and there's the technical complexity, right? And commercial complexity is really like, how do you justify the ROI? How do you sell the client on the value proposition. And we actually have thought a lot about this. This is actually that health check process that you saw as part of the first part of the video. So that is a completely standardized process for any project where we will go and deploy that sensor network at like a throwaway cost to essentially help the client find all the different kinds of opportunities and be able to make that sale on the basis of data, right? Instead of saying, here's my PowerPoint, here's 20%, believe me, please, right? And that becomes a long, drawn-out process. So we figured out it's very fast because customers want to see that range, not just our saving opportunities, but also, for example, that report could signify that, hey, look, many of the other solutions here in the room today, we found opportunities for those, right? So that makes the sale much faster. The technical part is really dealt with by the way that the mesh self kind of forms right after install. So you just need an electrician with a license to switch the dumb things out for the smart things, right? Things that they already know how to install. And then everything just creates a mesh, the logic is configured, and off you go.
Yeah.
We have about 5 seconds left.
Okay, sorry.
No
Just a quick one. There are quite a number of building control system providers out there. Technologies are different, but also claiming to potentially achieve similar energy savings with similar payback periods. How do you differentiate yourselves from these your competitors?
Right. So the competition, it's either they can achieve more savings and they're complex, like a Johnson Controls or a Honeywell or a heavier system, or they're very lightweight, but they don't do much in terms of payback. So we're actually kind of the best of both worlds because of the coverage of the mesh and how it unifies all these devices in terms of the advanced control logic, redundancy, and security. We can go very deep, again, from plant to the plug, right? Really deep integration across the entire building, but also very simple. So that's the differentiator there.
Thank you very much. I believe that's all the time we have for questions. Thank you, Yenping, everybody. Next, let's welcome to the stage our 7th company, and this is from Singapore. Please welcome Mr. Victor Loh, General Manager of L-Cube, presenting the technology UOPT, Optimal Control for FCU, addressing the challenge statement, tenants. Victor, time is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Victor Loh, General Manager of L-Cube Private Limited. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you guys our solution, UOPT, Optimal Control for Fan Coil Units. Since the introduction of Green Mark 2021, TSE, Total System Efficiency, and the Mandatory Energy Improvement MEI regime, which is going to roll out on the 3rd quarter of 2025, building owners are having challenges that actually attain the Green Mark recertification due to the inability to meet the energy efficiency standard. All right. In the most conventional way, most building owners actually will just simply replace the AC AHUs and fan coil units to the more efficient EC fan coil units as AHUs, even though they are not due for replacements. So for us, we think that it is too costly and it's not practical due to the downtime and depreciation costs of the equipment value. Hence, we come up with our solution, UOPT, Optimal Control for Fan Coil Units. We did a case study installing the UOPT at a 6-year-old well-maintained AC 3-speed fan coil unit in a mixed development building in Singapore. With the same operating hours and maintaining the same space temperature, we managed to achieve a 37.5% efficiency improvement from 0.08 kilo per ton to 0.05 kilo per ton, and a saving of 32%. Okay. UOPT actually enables to optimize the existing AC fan coil units to achieve 30% savings as shown in our case study. It enables the traditional fan coil units to imitate the EC fan coil functionality to vary the speed control and allows retrofitting in the live buildings such as retail mall with minimal disruption and ceiling works. UOP is applicable for conventional AC fan coil units as well as EC fan coil units. It will prolong the depreciation value of the equipment as well as have a better ROI as compared to immediate replacement of the EC fan coil units. In short, it will improve the total system efficiency for the green mark and MEI regime. UOP is an engineering-backed solution that actually helps to improve the energy efficiency of the fan coil units. So we actually will replace the 3-speed thermostat of the 3-speed fan coil to U-transmit, which actually comprises of the power meter, controller, and the LoRa transmitter to provide wireless connectivity back to the U-receive. With U-receive, UOP is able to scale up to 10 sets of U-transmit. Furthermore, U-receive is able to provide a local web interface for visualization through the web browser and is able to link back to the existing BMS through the BACnet and Open protocol. So based on 10 sets of fan coil units, it will only cost 25,000 to implement UOP on the existing AC fan coil units as compared to the 160,000 for the EC fan coil replacement. In terms of energy savings, UOP is able to provide a 20 to 30% energy saving as compared to the EC fan coil of 35 to 45%. Even though UOP is only able to reduce up to 0.02 kilo per ton as compared to the 0.04 kilo per ton for the EC fan coil replacement, but UOP is able to give you a payback in 12 to 13 years, while it will take more than 50 years for the EC fan coil replacement. In terms of the installation, it will only take 3 to 5 hours for the installation as compared to a 10 to 16 hours, including the ceiling works for a EC fan coil replacement. So for the implementation, we will take about, from the start to the end, a 10 months period. So for the first 3 months, we'll actually do a baseline study, and 2 months, and next 2 months for the implementation. Next 3 months to gather the post-implementation data, and lastly, 2 months for the report and evaluation. So markets that UOPs can be implemented will be for buildings that are actually looking at improving the airside efficiency for green mark and MEI regime, for fan coils that are actually not end of life yet, for live buildings that are, such as retail mall who cannot afford to have long downtime, and UOP is actually applicable for EC fan coil units and for buildings around the region. Yep, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Victor. Questions from our judges?
Can you talk a little bit about your experience and your team, the team behind this that will make it an incredible company?
All right, so in our team, we actually have a group of energy auditors and engineers that actually work on this solution. So as our team, if we say our team has about a group of 50 guys, on top of that, 10 of them is actually working on the energy efficiency aspect, and we have our own team of BMS as well as on the installation as well. So we actually covers from the full spectrum from the start to the end. Yep.
So Victor, 2 questions. Yes. First, can you just explain again how this modification of the fan coil unit works so that it meets the new green mark standard of BCA? Yep. And second, very specific question. By installing this, will we be able to meet the new green mark standard, which is based on, what do they call it, total energy, is it, or whatever? Total system efficiency. Total systems efficiency, yeah. Okay.
All right. So just to answer your first question, we actually install our UOP at your local control panel. So we actually, your fan coil local control panel. Yeah. So we actually do not need to, in terms of the EC fan coil replacement, we actually need to replace the whole AC fan coil down, bring the whole AC fan coil down, and then we have to install it up. So a lot of ceiling works and piping works have to be done. In terms of UOPs, we are only working on the local control panel modifying on your electrical side to have the power going to our power meter and the controls over to our U transmit itself. And then to control and varies the speed of the AC fan coil unit to have the EC fan coil functionality.
Okay, AC to EC sounds. Do you have something to just explain that? You had a diagram, right? I just want to understand.
All right.
Okay, so you have an electrical solution to this, basically. That's what you are saying.
Yes.
You are not installing anything extra.
No, so we'll be installing this U transmit over the local control panel.
Okay.
Yes. So this will be just beside the local control panel. And then we're only modifying on the local control panel to enable the controls of the equipment itself, allowing the current AC fan coil units to imitate the EC fan coil functionality.
Okay. Do you also do anything on the air side? For the air side control, do you do anything?
Sorry, So our controls actually will modify the controls as well. So we actually decouple the controls of traditional 3-speed thermostat, which usually uses 1 set point for 2 output, and our solution actually uses 2 set point for 2 outputs. So we actually decouples the control from traditional 3-speed thermostat control, which allow us to further optimize on the AC fan coil as well as the future when the 3-speed fan coil is actually end of life, you replace to the EC fan coil, you can actually continue to use our solution and further optimize your EC fan coil operation.
Okay, so to my second question, you put this, can you meet the new BCA requirements?
Okay, so in overall, it will actually help to improve or reduce the kilo per ton of about 0.02, which of course in TSE, it is actually comprises of both the water side as well as the air side efficiency. So of course, what we can do, or what we are confident that our solution is able to do, is to help you to reduce about 0.02 kilo per ton in terms of the air side.
About 50 seconds. Anybody want to ask another question? Magdalene?
Yeah. Maybe I ask on scalability. Beyond Singapore, are you all looking at other markets?
Our solution is actually able to be implemented around the regions where, using 230 power is fine. Yeah, so it can able to help in any fan coil that is using 230 because our solution currently set up is 230.
Okay, I believe that's all the time we have. Thank you very much, Victor. Can we give him a big hand, please? We're ready to welcome our 8th speaker to the stage, our 8th pitch and innovation from Singapore. Please welcome Mr. Jonathan Mu Liang, Director of Mirido Asia, who will be presenting the technology, Aqualis Water Saving Valve, addressing the challenge statement of water conservation and resilience. Jonathan, the time is all yours.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Jonathan, and I'm excited to tell you about our Aqualis water saving valve. It's a smart way to save water and water-related costs. Now, what if I told you we could help CLI save 3 million cubic meters of water a year? That's equivalent to 21 million Singaporean household water usage a day. So how do we do that? Well, we can do that by addressing certain water supply issues. First is the issue of over-metering. In any piped water delivery system, there's always air trapped inside. Did you know when you turn on the faucet, it causes a decrease in pressure, so there air flows through the water meter? Water meters only measure volume. They don't make any distinction between air and water, causing you to be charged for more water. Second is the issue of overpressure and overflow. Every water supply system actually has higher capacity than actually needed. So when you add these two issues up, what you get is high water wastage and high water-related costs. So if you had a solution that could address these things by maintaining upstream pressure and regulating downstream pressure, that's how we can help. It's our Aqualis water saving valve. It's a 2-stage externally adjustable precision water valve. First, it maintains upstream pressure to reduce the issues of over-metering. Second, it can help regulate downstream pressure. Because every building has different needs, our system has an adjustable valve setting, so it can fit any building's need. And what you get is you get to save more water and more money. So how much, so our Aqualus water saving valve also meets all the water safety requirements. It's compliant with NSF, FDA, PUB, and it's easily installed on the user side of the water meter. So by adopting our solution, how much savings can you typically expect? So typical savings would range from 15 to 25% for water-related cost savings. Not only that, but our solution is trusted by well-known global brands. It's applicable to any building or industry type. And so let's take a look at some real-world results here. So we have 3 case studies. One is a high-rise residential complex in Canada. Second is a Houston hospital in the USA. And third is the Westin Hotel by Marriott in Canada. So all of these 3 save typical savings of 20%. Now, CapitaLand has given us an asset to take a look at for a potential pilot. It's Corporation Place. So the water use is about 3,800 cubic meters per month. With a typical water savings of 20%, we could be looking at annual water savings of over 9,000 cubic meters, which means a payback of 1.3 years. Looking at all the different possible scenarios, you could be looking at a payback from 1.5 years to as short as potentially 0.9 years. For scalability, we have a full range of valve sizes to fit any need. Installation is very simple. It can be installed by any licensed plumber. We can implement it locally in Singapore. We have local branches, and we can build select partnerships outside for implementation. And it's basically a product that can be used for the global market. It's suitable for all assets, climates, and seasons, and can be used on all CapitaLand properties. So what about impact? Well, in 2024, CLI's total water usage was 15.6 million cubic meters. By adopting our innovative solution and achieving typical average savings of 20%, it could potentially reduce that to 12.5 million cubic meters of water. That's 3.1 million cubic meters of water saved, or $10 million saved. So because every drop counts, let's work together and partner with CapitaLand and whoever else is out there interested in saving more water and more money with our Aqualus water saving valve. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. With 36 seconds to spare, judges?
I would love to get a view on your competitors. Like, who are you competing against? And is it mostly that there's nothing like this installed yet? So meaning it's a sales game? Or is it other people who are providing similar type of services? And how are you better than them? And is there any kind of IP, technological patents that makes you stand out?
Okay, great question. There are, water-saving valves on the market. I guess we'd like to think ours is kind of like the next generation. So there are a lot of different advantages that we have, and it is a patented valve. So one is kind of visibility. A lot of the previous ones, they actually impacted flow. They had to be put inside the pipe, and they weren't visible, so you had to keep track of them. Second is adjustability. Previous models used a different kind of mechanism where it's a fixed spring system. So you couldn't adjust for different buildings, and you had to kind of guess what the right optimal solution was. As you can imagine, that's not easy. That's like throwing darts on the wall, right? So, and every time you had to do that, you had to remove and then put a new one on. Ours doesn't impede flow. Ours has, adjustable settings, basically from closing all the way to opening all the way. So, you can find that exact setting where, whatever building you're looking at, you can optimize.
So, John, does this reduce the water consumed, or does it reduce that you pay less for the same water consumed? You know what I mean? Because you said air goes in and then you end up paying more, right? So first point that, or if it's a combination of two, which is the more relevant one, right? So point number one. Point number two, how is the installation of these of this device? Where do you put it in, right? And how many do you put in? Various sizes, or is it, only at a certain critical size does it become relevant? And then the third question would be, does this in any way compromise the water pressure for the end user, the water pressure that's coming to the end user? Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Those are great questions. So sorry, I guess you had 3 points.
Forgot the first one. Okay, the first one is, are you really saving water?
Okay, yes.
Or are you paying less for the same amount of water? Because without this, you are being overcharged. Yeah.
So it's actually a mix between two. It's hard to say which one's what, because how do we measure our water? It's through the water meter. For non-volumetric uses, and if because we do regulate the pressure downstream, we can reduce some water usage as long as there's nothing like a booster pump or a holding tank in between. As long as the reduction in the water pressure meets all the way to the usage point. And then the second question was the installation. So you only need one of our Aqualist water saving valve. You would put it right after the water meter. So you place it just right after the main water meter. So for a corporation place, they had a 6-inch meter. So we do produce valves of all sizes to meet the different pipes. And then the third question was,
does it compromise the water pressure for the end users?
Yeah. Yeah, because it does have the adjustable valve, you can actually it won't in the optimized setting, it won't impact the I guess the tenants or the building users.
Got about 1 minute and 20 seconds if anybody else judges.
So just adding on to Magnus's question on the competition. We are aware of some of the companies also offering water saving valves. Just a question on what you didn't touch on was on the cost. How does it compare to existing, although it's an next-gen valve? Ultimately, the user will be looking at cost competitiveness as well. And then secondly, in terms of performance, is it much better than existing valves? Thanks.
Yeah, so in terms of cost, I believe there's different models. So we're offering a CAPEX model, so it's a one-time fee. And those are the ROIs where we put. So the savings, you're looking around a payback of, as mentioned, within 1.5 to as low as 0.9 years for corporation place. In terms of cost competitiveness, it's pretty competitive with what's out there, but it does allow better savings. That's due to the I guess the advantages that I mentioned. It doesn't impede flow as the previous models do. It's easy to adjust. Because with previous models, you don't know whether you've actually hit that setting or not.
I believe that's all the time we have. Thank you very much, Jonathan. Can we give him a big hand?
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to be moving along to our 9th pitch for today, and this is an innovation from Israel. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Adital Ella, who is the founder and CEO of Createra, who is going to be presenting the technology BioGeo agglomerated stone, addressing the challenge statement construction decarbonization. Adital, stage is all yours.
So hello. I'm Adital Ella, founder and CEO of Createra. I come from the background of industrial design with 25 years of experience at the intersection of design, sustainability, and technology. I come from a family deeply rooted in construction. With Createra, we see every building as an opportunity, not just to reduce harm, but to create positive environmental impact. We believe CapitaLand can lead this shift by choosing materials that are not only sustainable, but regenerative. Concrete and ceramic tiles are energy intensive, non-circular, and create irreversible waste. Even the greenest solutions are fired in 1200 degrees or more. In this extreme heat, the carbon in the minerals is released into the atmosphere, and this is why these technologies are so carbon intensive. At Createra, we've taken a fundamentally different approach. We create building materials that are based on 100% natural ingredients with no cement, no synthetic adhesives, and no high temperature firing. We developed a technology, a patented technology, that allows us to produce these products below 100 Celsius degrees. We save 90% of the energy in the process, and the carbon, it stays fully bonded into the minerals. So this means we create a technology with no kilns, no cement, and no process emissions. At Createra, we combine environmental impact with high scalability, together with high performance, and we offer our products with zero green premium. Our first product in the market is the BioGeo wall tiles. They are TRL8. We've already installed 150 projects around the world. Our tiles have been lab tested, validated, and licensed for industrial scale production. Createra is aligned with CapitaLand's vision towards sustainable real estate. Our products reduce Scope 3 emissions, reduce construction waste, and support green certification. This means we get improved ESG performance and higher asset value. Compared to competitors, Createra products deliver superior performance in sustainability and in other critical properties. We stand out as first in class in carbon savings, and our products embody true material circularity. This means not only recycling, but regenerating. Another very good aspect is that our products have very high impact resistance. If you drop a Createra tile, it will not shatter. The global wall tile market is a 5 billion square meter market. We're starting from the Netherlands, expanding to Europe, and from there to Asia. Our first industrial scale production line will be in Romania at a scale of 1 million square meters, and it will be profitable from year 2 with a 30 million euro turnover. The BioGeo agglomerated stone platform was designed to introduce a variety of precast products for the built environment. Our next applications will be claddings, following with masonry blocks. We are a team of 12. Together with me in developing the technology is our chief scientist, Dr. Tzvi Cohen, and the team includes leading business people and leading engineers. For our preference case, we took the 7 Science Park Drive in Geneo. In this project, 2,600 square meters of wall tiles were installed. If instead of a typical green ceramic tile, Createra tiles would have been installed, we would have saved in this specific project almost 20 tons of CO2. So imagine the implications around the whole activity of CapitaLand. So this is a saving of almost 60% compared to a green tile on the market. Createra is proud to be here together with you, and we would be honored to explore how we could build a future of sustainable buildings together, one wall at a time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adutal. If you want to stand in the center for Q&A, and judges, whenever you're ready.
Thanks very much, Adutal, for the presentation. And just a very big kudos, because I see a lot of women on the panel as well, so that's great. Going back to some fundamental questions, can I just get a sense of what your pricing is relative to conventional tiles? Or I would call it designer tiles, or how do you want to put it? And then the second question that I have is presumably the raw inputs. I mean, your first plant is in Romania. Where do you source some of these inputs? And how easily available are they?
Okay. Okay, wonderful. So when it comes to pricing, I will take as an example the European market when we are launching our tiles first. So the mid-market in Europe operates between 10 euros to 60 euros per square meter. The Createra tiles will be offered starting from 35 euros to begin with, and as we scale up, we plan to scale down the price. When it comes to materials, the product is made in general from varieties of silts, varieties of clays, and plant-based fibers. These are materials that are, in general, quite prevalent in every geography. The formulation was designed actually to be very, very adaptable. We have designed the technology with the local production for local use concept in mind. So about 70% of the material could be actually sourced from reclaimed materials from quarries from the asphalt and concrete industry. It could be designed from construction and demolition waste. So this part is very flexible, and we have already proven both in Israel, in Portugal, and in Romania, that the technology is fully versatile to be able to source the materials quite close to the production line, and we believe that would be the same in Asia.
Okay, so far the examples that you have shown are all wall tiles. Are there plans to expand it to floor tiles or any other tiles?
Yeah, our concept at the moment is working on the vertical of the building, because in the long run we want to introduce highly thermal envelopes for the building. One of the added values of this material is it has very good thermal resistance. So we would like to combine with time the wall cladding and highly thermal masonry blocks to introduce very insulative envelopes. So this is why we focus on the vertical side of the building.
Magdalene or Magnus?
Yes, congrats on this. How does, since they're degradable, how long can they stay up on the wall, and what types of climates can you have them in? Obviously here in Singapore is very humid.
So actually, sorry.
And how does it compare to, the standard tiles?
Yeah. So first of all, we looked yesterday the difference between the climate in Israel and in Singapore. To be honest, in Israel, 70% of humidity is very, very common. So actually, we have a lot of proof in rather similar surroundings. When it comes to recycling or how long the product would survive, in order to bring the product back to being either raw materials for the next application or to be introduced into a industrial compost, so we could use the material back as even compost for agriculture, we need a controlled decomposition process. So a typical ceramic tile would stay in nature 30,000 degrees to 1 million degrees, 30,000 years to 1 million years if you would just leave it there. The Createra tile, if you do controlled decomposition, within about a few months it will be back to be part of nature. If you would leave it in nature alone, it will take about a year for it to start degrading. So in order to keep it, to bring it back to the natural ingredients, you really need a controlled decomposition. We have a whole structure of coatings that protect the product, and it will be fully controlled for years, also as outdoor cladding. And we have done different rapid aging tests in different labs and so on to show that.
Magdalene, did you have a question?
Thanks. My question is on expansion. Can I understand for expansion-wise, does this mean the company has to set up a manufacturing facility in every country that it goes to for cost competitiveness? Yeah.
We believe this is the right way to go from a sustainable point of view. So not every country, but at least every continent. I mean, we believe that the long-term way to really introduce sustainable products is using local resources to produce locally available materials that then can be addressed as material banks to go back to the same regions and be either recycled to the next products or recycled back to raw materials. So we believe this is part of our strategy.
Thank you. That's all the time we have. Can we thank Adital, ladies and gentlemen? This is it. We are down to our final pitch of today, and it is an innovation from Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Aaron Frankie, who is the Corporate Communications for Legal and Sustainability of AirStack, and he will be presenting the technology, AirStack's multi-enzyme tech, addressing the challenge statement in health, safety, and wellness in buildings. Aaron, time is all yours.
Right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and to the esteemed judges as well. Thanks for having us here. My name is Aaron, and I'm from AirStack, and this is our pitch deck for today, and we'll show you why we complement your human health, assets, and the environment. AirStack is a biotechnology company beginning its enzyme innovation technology since 1990 in Australia, moving on into Malaysia in 2002, and since then, we have achieved biotech status, basically R&D status, providing solutions for new and existing assets. Existing clienteles include in Malaysia, the Royal Malaysian Navy, Duo Pharma Biotech, which is pharmaceutical manufacturing, Subang Jaya Medical Center, and more. And today we are here for the CapitaLand Sustainability Challenge in the category of health, safety, and wellness of buildings. There are universal problems or problem in the built environment. Basically, biofilms are inevitable. The growth of bacteria, fungal, and mold that grows indoors causes a lot of problems, and the prime areas where these biofilms grow is inside all types of air conditioning systems. They cause a lot of wear and tear and already cause a lot of high energy usage as well. Causing human health problem, poor IAQ, indoor air quality, poor thermal comfort, and loss in productivity as well, and this is shown in the technical deck. Ongoing conventional methods, however, ineffectively remove these biofilms, and they damage the assets, as you can see here, acidic chemicals or alkali-based chemicals as well. And as a discharge, when you do the maintenance or the cleaning with these chemicals, it's going to pollute the water table and the environment. And in a nutshell, you're not going to get the health, safety, and wellness of buildings as an aftermath. AirStack's multi-enzyme technology basically deep cleans and decontaminates. It is non-damaging to the assets, and it is environmentally friendly. We'll explain this in the next slide. On the left-hand side, typical example or a picture of biofilms inside an air conditioning system. On the right-hand side, how is the air conditioning system supposed to look after decontamination? How do these enzymes work? They are nano-sized, and basically they break in and penetrate the tough biofilm layers that hold the bacteria, fungal, and mold. And once they break the layers, the enzymes can go in there to remove the bacteria, fungal, and mold effectively at a root level, allowing it to effectively clean, removing that source of the problem that causes a lot of IAQ problems and not damaging the equipment in the process. The ultimatums. Effective biofilm removal, this has been tested and shown in various reports that we have submitted, 97% removal rate. And the enzymes are small, 7.8 nanometers, which means they can penetrate into tough areas where it's difficult to reach for cleaning and maintenance. Not just for air conditioning systems, but also another crucial area, cooling towers that shoot out Legionella bacteria causing Legionella disease. The enzymes can also decontaminate there. Prolonging asset and performance, the enzymes are pH 6 to 8 neutral, so they're not acidic or they're not alkali-based, and they conform to aviation standards, safety standards of conformity. What does this mean? Through all the rigorous testing means that they do not cause long-term degradation in the air conditioning systems that it's applied on. And as a bonus, the enzymes are certified readily biodegradable waste, which means when it goes to the environment, it biodegrades 89% within 28 days. And because it's also from a company that's complying to ISO standards 14001 for the environment. In terms of scalability, we are the technology owner and the manufacturer, so the ability for us to also formulate and do products for global export is there. And what this means is that in any asset or building that is applied on, enhancing human health, improving or prolonging the asset life, protecting the environment, and boosting the sustainability profile can be achieved. So for this challenge, we were given the assignment to basically see how it would look like in live Hotel 1 North Singapore. So we start with this table. Basically, what we're trying to show in this table is a current maintenance regime. For example, normally the majority of the cost is in the services. So basically, we are competitively matching the price and just switching the technology over from the current one that is applied to what Aristec's one looks like, and showing the added benefits and savings. So basically, in terms of the ROI, because it's competitively priced, we are also showing the ROI is basically paid off in that sense. So how does it look like with Aristec's technology? Basically, 97% microbial removal rate means indoor air quality is achieved. On top of that, the energy savings, which I'll explain how is it like in a bit, a modest 10 to 15% depending on the environment and the equipment condition. Degradation rate, as explained, the enzymes are safe. They're not going to cause that degrading equipment, as you can see, using the other chemicals. The maintenance regime that Aristec is saying with the enzymes is once, at most twice a year, depending on the environmental condition, compared to conventional technologies, which is double that. And on top of that, this is going to reduce the labor costs. And the best part, the enzymes can cover more air conditioning equipment in that maintenance time for the teams to do more work.
Thank you, Aaron. That's all the time we have for our presentation.
Sorry.
We will now move on to our questions from our judges. Judges? Manohar, maybe, or Yvonne?
Sorry, what did you say per unit cost, that 80 per unit? What are you referring to? What's the unit?
So the unit is basically the air conditioning unit. One unit, so basically the majority of the cost is the services, the service team, and then the product is being integrated into the services.
You're referring to a split unit? Or
split unit for this scenario.
For a split unit.
Correct. Because in Life Hotel, a lot of the units that are in there is split units as well.
So it's $80 per?
Per cleaning of the unit.
Oh, okay.
Per unit.
So
correct.
you do it, and then you said you do it twice a year, is it?
For Aristec, we say with the enzymes, once a year is the maintenance regime. At most twice a year, depending on the environmental conditions and so forth.
Okay.
Do you only focus on the air conditioning unit? Because we live in sunny, sticky Singapore, and I would imagine that biofilms almost on anything and everything. So,
sure. Our enzyme solutions stretch out not just on air conditioning units. We cover cooling towers. We also cover facades as well, because you get a lot of biofilm growth that sticks on the surfaces of the building outside. The enzymes can actually help to remove the biofilm growths that unbeautify the buildings, as we say. And we also have consumer formulation as well for kitchen cleaning and multipurpose with the same enzyme performance.
Any other questions, judges?
your go-to-market is currently just via the service component, or do you work to sell some of these just straight up to the existing aircon service guys?
Sure. So it works various ways. For instance, in Malaysia, it's the services and the products. But for other markets, let's say like Singapore, it would be the products combining with the current, let's say, contractors in the existing buildings, aircon contractors, as you've mentioned, or facility managements that are in existing CapitaLand buildings. So they'll be looking for a new product to apply. So basically, we can just supply them the product, give the explanation how to do the enzyme application, the SOPs, and then you're on your way to apply the enzymes.
Can you talk a bit more about your current progress? How much are you selling, revenue, growth?
Sure. So in terms of the prices, actually in the previous slide, hang on, so let me see. So up there is actually, well, we do a B2B style pricing where we show, if you see on the top right, it is basically the cost to use the product per unit when the guys do the cleaning. We can give a price per bottle, so that's basically 1 liter is about 109 Sing dollars, but we don't normally sell it per liter for the B2B because it's ordered in a bulk, and the prices actually per liter go down because we are selling it as a B2B bulk as well. And in terms of growth, you're referring to the growth in Malaysia, or is it other markets?
What's your revenue in the company now, and how's it growing, since you're already in the market?
Yeah, so it's, from what I understand, I think it's about 4 to 5 million. I'm not really much of a finance person, so I'm going to have a difficulty answering that. But with the contracts that we have currently and all, there is a revenue, but I apologize if I can't memorize the financial amount. But if you do want it, we can revert back to you with the right amount. Sorry about that.
So in the chart above, when you talk about fan coil units, AHUs 15 to 72, what does this mean? What is material cost or what? The cost of your enzymes or what?
Sure. So actually in the technical deck, we optimize the enzyme amount. That means the cost of the enzymes needed to clean that particular air conditioning unit. Because this is part of our ISO being environmentally friendly. We don't want to waste products or overquote people. We calculate based on the specs of the air conditioning and we price them according to, this is the specs you have, this is the amount required for you to clean it with the formulation because it's a hyper concentrate. So that is actually the price according to the air conditioning equipment. It goes by the units and the horsepower and the size. So it's optimized that way.
I believe we have time for maybe one last question, judges.
And again, how often do you need to do this?
So Arisec, we are saying with the enzymes, once in 12 months.
Once in 12
So on the 10th month, we will come and do the swab sampling, we will check. So that is what our optimal regime is. Of course, 1 to 2 times will depend on where the building is located.
So both for split units as well as central aircon units
Yes,
once a year?
Yeah. AHUs and FCUs, split units, correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Aaron. I believe that's all the time we have for Aaron. Aaron, if you could kindly remain on stage, please, for our lightning round. Now will be a perfect time to welcome our second batch of all 5 finalists. Please, take the stage. Now, if you've had your questions for the various teams and you haven't managed to ask them, once again, we've got the QR codes that are on the screens before you for our in-person audience, and for our virtual audience, we have the link in the chat. Okay, thank you for submitting your questions. Let's get straight to them. Okay, this one is for Gaia Mesh. Yen Ping, for you. Can you actually analyze energy performance by just measuring input power? And how do you measure energy efficiency?
That's a great question. So we can measure energy performance on a number of levels of detail. So if you just want to look at energy performance of a building, then input power is all you need. And you can benchmark that against other buildings based on the IEA standard building types. But if you want to go deeper in terms of for example, benchmarking energy performance of a particular piece of equipment, you'll need a few more measures. For example, COP for a chiller. You'll need temperature, humidity. You need temperature and flow, as well as input power. And finally, if you want to really look at how well your building is using energy, we actually like to look at occupancy as well. Like how well is that energy being used to actually serve people, right? Because it could be very performant, but you're not actually making people comfortable.
Thank you. Okay, we have our next question that we will put up on the screen. This, I believe, is for Adital, so maybe we can hand her a mic with regard to bio-geoagglomerated stone. Are the tiles suitable for to be used in all climate conditions? Are there any constraints you faced? How well is the wear and tear compared to conventional tiles if it is made from natural materials?
Yes, thank you. So, as I mentioned before, the Createra technology is a combination of the actual formulation that is done actually from the strongest materials that we can find in nature, in addition to a coating system that we developed that is, again, made of plant-based oils and plant-based resins that have the capacity to actually strengthen with time. So the materials are very well suited for any inhabited atmosphere, and as I mentioned before, they were tested and already installed for about 6 years in various conditions. The tiles are, as I showed before, have actually very, very strong impact resistance. They have, since it's a composite material, it does not shatter like a ceramic tile, which is actually very, very thin bonds. These are very, very strong bonds, and its actual durability and strength can withstand cutting, drilling, CNCs, and so on. So it's a quite sturdy material.
Thank you. Our next question for UOPT, so let's pass the mic to Victor. What is the UOPT competitive advantage over other FCU optimization solutions?
So UOPT actually, our competitive edge will then be, we are actually helping the converting the existing AC fan coil units to imitate the EC fan coil functionality. So we actually do not need to replace or anything. Replace the fan coil unit itself, but we change the control and the operation model of the existing AC fan coil units. That's it.
Thank you. Our next question is with regard to Aqualis, so maybe we can pass the mic to Jonathan. How can you be sure that the decrease in water bills is purely due to the valve? Since this valve is able to tune the pressure level and zone, are there any more specific ways to measure savings?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So the decrease in water bills requires, good data collection and verification process. We can do that by looking at the water meter real time and taking a good baseline. So we do have to require that, there's no constant, that other variables don't change as much, so we can have a good good comparison before and after the usage.
Thank you. Our next question for Aristech. So maybe pass the mic to Aaron, please. What is the efficacy of your system as compared to UVC treatment technology? What is the advantage of your system over those?
Sure. So, UV technology is very popular, and it's one of the popular methods for removing the bacteria. The difference between that and Aristech is, while UV light is sort of zapping the bacteria, fungal, and mold that's being released, Aristech is using its enzymes to go to the source of the problem, where the bacteria, fungal, and mold and the spores are being released. So that is basically the difference. In terms of advantage, now UV light, no dispute about the technology, but the installation of it is very, very fragile. You've got to be really careful of how you install or dismantle or basically service them. And a lot of these air conditioning systems, I've seen them in person, the environment in there is not very calm. It's a lot of wind blowing and a lot of noise as well. And the UV light is basically shining at a particular part, but behind it, you're going to get that contamination, the source of the contamination that's sticking on the light. So as an advantage, basically, the enzymes go in there to remove the source of the problem. And perhaps for building owners who want to have the best of both worlds, actually UV light complements the enzyme technology. Enzymes go there and remove the source, and if there's any extra 1% of bacteria, fungal, and mold flying around, the UV lights are there to basically zap them all away and remove them. So that's basically the difference and the advantage comparing both technologies.
Thank you. Our next question, highlighting Gaiamesh, so for Yenping, maybe we can hand the mic over. It's possible to show strong first-year cost savings, but as companies optimize, will savings shrink in later years, making them less inclined to keep subscribing?
That's a great question. So the the cost savings, essentially, this is a process where we will continually work with the customers through the kind of constant analysis of the data to keep looking for new opportunities. It's like you go to the doctor for a health check every year, right? So every time you will discover new kind of opportunities for optimization, because as the systems age, right, different technologies and different opportunities will arise. And we're constantly staying on top of all the potential ways to use the latest technology to optimize your building performance, whether it's our own or whether there's other technology out there. So it's kind of serving as a marketplace, right? Not only to control the building, but also to constantly be on the lookout for smart capital allocation for across the entire portfolio.
Thank you. Our next question is for UOpt. How much improvement in terms of kilowatt per ton can you do for a building with a lot of FCU, and can you help to meet the total system efficiency standard?
All right. If a building with a lot of fan coil units, it can actually reduce up to 0.02 kilo per ton in terms of the airside performance efficiency. And of course, with that, it will definitely improve on the total system efficiency and eventually meet the green mark standard that is required. Yeah.
Thank you. Our next question is for Aqualis, so maybe we can hand the mic over to Jonathan. There we go. How can reduced water consumption not affect the end user's water pressure?
So I guess there's a couple things that it's doing. One is improving the water accuracy. Second, there is always some extra higher capacity than actually needed, which is mentioned. So you reduce it to the amount that where it's still usable for the end user. You don't reduce it so much that it would affect the end user's water pressure.
Our next question is for biogeoagglomerated stones, so perhaps we could hand the mic over. So I bring this up. Tiles are highly aesthetic design products. Can you explain how Critera addresses this, and how about structural integrity of this tile for various geographies and any issues of molds or odor? Aditya?
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, I have to say that aesthetics and sustainability, it's actually a strategy, because we can see, I mean, I'm in this field of sustainability for quite a long time, and in the beginning we all thought that people will be willing to pay more for sustainable products. I think we see really the opposite. We have to have products that people really love. They choose them because they are the products, and then the benefit of having them sustainable, low carbon, and all the other environmental benefits is what we all actually gain from. So this is why from day one, learning what would be the best collection to really integrate the market, to really have this unique offer of a beautiful material, natural looking, that has a very, very strong appeal, was definitely part of our strategy, because we want people to choose the product because they love it and then enjoy it because it's sustainable. When it comes to geographies, Critera developed an algorithm that allows us to adapt the technology to every geography globally. So the way we protect it when it comes to the surface is, as I mentioned before, with the unique coatings that we developed that allow us to protect the surface of the product in a durable way that would withstand whichever service uses that we would need. So that's definitely part of the system that was developed.
Thank you. I believe that's all the time we have for our lightning round. Can we give our finalists a round of applause? Thank you. I'd like to invite you back to your seats, please. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our pitches and our amazing finalists. I think they did fantastic. Can we give them another round of applause? So wonderful. It takes a lot of courage to be on this stage, and some fantastic ideas that we've heard today as well. Of course, to our judges, to you, our audience, thank you so much for being so wonderful today. We will now take a short break as our judges deliberate the results. You're welcome for our audience here at BCA Academy to enjoy the refreshments outside, and we will let you know when to be back here 5 minutes before we announce our results. And for our virtual audience, we will be going for a short break, and we will be right back. Now, please enjoy the refreshments for our audience here at BCA Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I trust you had a great break, a wonderful networking session. While you were enjoying all of that, our judges were deliberating who should be going home for the four special recognition awards that we mentioned earlier this afternoon for this year's CXSC. Of course, they were also deliberating which startups will win that opportunity to pilot their innovation with CapitaLand. Now, our winners this year will be going home with a very special designed trophy, specially designed. And this is one that is crafted by Megorium Enterprise Singapore's emerging startup winner from CSXC 2023. Now, this unique trophy, allow me to take you through a little bit about it. It's made from Eco Asphalt Premix, and this is a sustainable material for road construction. The encased Eco Asphalt combines aggregates and new bitumen derived from plastic waste recycled from CapitaLand's retail operations, CSXC 2023 Sandbox Partners, DBS, and KPMG in Singapore, as well as CapitaLand's tenants such as Calvin Klein, Fairmont Singapore, Swissotel de Stamford, L'Occitane, Marks & Spencer, MLS Logistics Services Private Limited, Tommy Hilfiger, and Uniqlo Singapore. This innovative material that has been used is also the same one used to pave the driveways and car parks at CapitaLand's Linden Woods flats here in Singapore. In collaboration with CapitaLand and their tenants, this truly is a partnership that reflects a significant stride forward to create a circular economy, advancing sustainability in the urban environment. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've done lots of talking. It's now time for me to hand the stage over to our Chief Judge, Mr. Manohar Kiatani, Senior Executive Director at CapitaLand Investment, for a few words. Manohar?
Actually, I never knew that the word Chief Judge exists. It sounds more like Chief Justice. I feel like, wearing that nice white wig that you see. But anyway, it's been a great experience, I must say, for me and my fellow judges to have gone through all these applications. It took a bit of time. I thought it's going to be a chore. But as we were reading through these impressive submissions, actually, it really kindled a flame in us. The kind of great work that so many people are doing to solve the world's problems. I think sustainability is existential for all of us. And we know that the challenges that we are facing is huge. But I think as long as we have people like yourselves who are always there looking for good implementable ideas, I think our future as humanity is secured. So I want to give all of you a huge, I want all of you to give yourselves a huge round of applause for that. So, I think at the start, we shared that there were about more than 900 applications. And from these 900, they were filtered down to 30-something. And finally, you are amongst the top 10, right? So you already belong to the top 1%, right? So all of you are already winners, right? So that made the job of the judges both easy and difficult. The easy part was that it was very clear that all the 10 projects need to be test-bedded. So all 10 will be test-bedded in CapitaLand properties. So again, a big round of applause for that. So that decision took us a full 2 minutes, right, to come to that conclusion that all should be. So that was the easy part. And now comes the difficult part. It was like splitting hair. How do you rate 10 A+ grade students on who should get the 4 special awards that we are giving? And it's very close. It is so close that, I have no hair, but for those who have hair, it was really about splitting hair. But having said that, so that took a lot of time, I must admit, because, as I said, so many of you had such great ideas. On that matter, whether it's the most innovative, most impactful, most scalable, and I think there's one more prize, that's the point, that's the part that we had a bit of discussion. But finally, we had to make a decision. So we made that decision. And as I said, it's not an easy decision. Now, the best thing that I, and I'm sure my fellow judges, found about almost all the applications, I would say, as I always tell people, what is innovation? Innovation is doing things better, cheaper, and faster. If it's a good solution that costs a lot of money, I don't think it makes a lot of sense, right? If it's a cheap solution that doesn't make a difference, that's also not a solution. So what we like, anyway, as CapitaLand, we like things that are cheap and good. Except for our own properties, we don't want them to be cheap. Okay. And I think that was the beauty of these submissions today, that many of them were actually very down to earth, very practical solutions. And I must admit that some of them I didn't believe that they will work. So that still needs to be, and that's why you will see a lot of our questions were related to where have they been tried, do they really work? So ultimately, that's where the results of the test bedding will tell us how well they really work. But as I said, all of the solutions were really very down-to-earth solutions, which we think, if they really work, they are easily scalable. Okay? So I think with that, I will hand over to my colleagues who will then announce who the winners are. And once again, thank you very much for your active participation. Thank you.
Thank you, Manohar. If you could kindly remain on stage, please, for the next segment of our program as we announce our results. As mentioned earlier as well, we're very, very pleased to announce that what you see before you, all 10 startups will be awarded that pilot opportunity with CapitaLand Mall properties across over 260 cities across 40 regions. So congratulations to all our startups that are here once again. Now we move on to our next segment where we are giving away those 4 special recognition awards: the High Impact Award, Most Innovative Award, Enterprise Singapore's Most Scalable Award, and Enterprise Singapore's Emerging Startup Award. And to give out these awards, I'd like to invite Mr. Jonathan Yap, Chief Executive Officer of CapitaLand Development, on stage to give these away with us. Thank you. This is our Oscar style. The first award, High Impact Award. This goes to Gaia Mesh. Congratulations. We'll receive the award and then a few words after.
Okay, oh.
How about that? A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Gaia Mesh from the United States. Big smiles. A few words, perhaps, Yan Ping. Oh, we have you here.
Well, this is truly an honor. I think I've been really a fan of CapitaLand and really been inspired by CapitaLand's commitment to sustainability for quite a long time. And it's really an honor to finally be able to have a much closer collaboration with such an amazing organization. And I look forward to seeing what we can do together to really make a positive impact on the planet and also on CapitaLand's bottom line. So hopefully we can deliver on this promise of truly scaling sustainability globally together. So thank you so much.
Congratulations to Gaia Mesh. Our second award is the Most Innovative Award. And this goes to Hydro Vigor. Congratulations to Penny from Hong Kong, China. For those of us that aren't taking photos, how about a round of applause for Hydro Vigor? Congratulations on going home with the Most Innovative Award today. A few words, perhaps. Maybe in the center?
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here. And thanks CapitaLand for giving us great opportunity to have to join this great event. And I want to like to thank you, my mentor. Yeah, they give us so much useful information. And we will do our best to deploy to the CapitaLand properties. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Penny, and congratulations. Please remain on stage for a group photo later on. For our next 2 awards, I'd like to invite Ms. Magdalene Loh, Director Urban Solutions and Sustainability at Enterprise Singapore, up on stage to join us for our last 2 awards. Magdalene? The next award is Enterprise Singapore's Most Scalable Award. This goes to Miracool Energy, saving HVAC. Congratulations to Wee Kang. Maybe a group photo first before... Sure, he has many thank yous and appreciation that he'd like to express. So a few words, please. We'll hand the mic over to you.
Thank you, everyone, and especially the judges. Thank you for this amazing opportunity, and I'm really excited and also honored to be able to receive this award. And we look forward to working together with CapitaLand to help create a social, environmental, and also financial impact. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And last but certainly not the least, we have our final award, Enterprise Singapore's Emerging Startup. And this goes to NV Gel 365 RPET. Congratulations to Leonard. He's got his fist pumping in the air. Very, very happy to be receiving this. Congratulations. While we have you here, kindly remain where you are. Perhaps I'd like to invite everyone to come together. All 4 award winners to come together for a group photo. Maybe you could take a couple of steps forward as well. Okay, fantastic. Beautiful. Show us your wonderful awards. Big smiles. How about that? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Give them a big, big round of applause. Amazing presentations, wonderful initiatives. And it is your bold ideas that are going to be contributing to the sustainability and our future. Thank you very much. I'd like to invite our award winners to join us back at your seats. Thank you. But for everyone else, kindly remain on stage. So if you've got the award, I'd like to invite you back to your seats. Just for a short bit, we will invite you back for a photo in a few moments. We, of course, want to thank our judges for their time, for their effort today. And I'd now like to invite Mr. Yap to give a token of appreciation to our judges. First, to our chief judge, Manohar, ladies and gentlemen. We thank him for his time. A warm round of applause. How about that? I'm liking the sound of chief judge. Thank you very much. We'd also like to thank, of course, Magdalene for her time too, and for joining us on the judging panel this afternoon. Thank you, Magdalene. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us. We'd like to take this opportunity to, of course, thank the rest of our judges. Please join us on stage, Miss Yvonne Woon. If you could join us on stage, please. We'd like to invite Yvonne. We'd like to just a token of our appreciation for your time and for joining us on the judging panel. Thank you, Yvonne, for being with us today. Thank you for being part of our 4th edition and being on the judging panel. We also want to thank Mr. Tan Chi Kiet. If you could join us on stage, please. A little token of our appreciation for your time today. We also have Mr. Magnus. Magnus, if you could join us on stage, please. These are the faces of those that were deliberating long and hard, about half an hour. They spent a good amount of time making sure that all our award winners were well-deserving for sure. At this point, also, we'd like to invite Ms. Vinamra Srivastava to join us on stage, please. For a group photo, and all 10 finalists, please come back on stage. All our 10 finalists as well, please. You took the spotlight on the stage earlier, and now's the time. For those of you with awards and trophies, yeah, please bring those with you as well. A big group photo to celebrate our 4th edition here for CSXC. Gonna remember this demo day for many, many years to come. A big thank you to all of you, our friends in the audience, those joining us virtually. Really, job well done to all our startups for their fantastic presentations today. It takes plenty of courage to be up here on the stage, making a 5-minute pitch and then answering questions from our judges live here. Not to mention our lightning round that we had, 2 lightning rounds for our 5 finalists each. Answering those questions live from you, our audience, those joining us in person here at BCA Academy and those joining us virtually as well. I know a lot of us are taking photos, but those that aren't, just want to make sure everyone's seen. Beautiful. Got plenty of people taking photos as well. All right. Probably a couple of photos before we get the official video in. Big smile. How about okay, fantastic. I think one for the video. Okay. Oh, beautiful. Wonderful. Take a couple of photos. Huddle in a little bit. Fantastic energy today. Thank you so much for coming through with all your bold ideas. How about a thumbs up from everybody? Fantastic. Beautiful. Thank you again for being here with us for CSXC's 4th edition Demo Day. Let's wave to the camera and to our friends in the audience. Shall we keep the applause going for CSXC's 4th edition Demo Day? Well done and congratulations to all 4 award winners today. Thank you. Thank you to our judges, to our finalists, to all of you in our audience for being so wonderful today. Congratulations happening here. Definitely in order. It's really been a wonderful afternoon here together as we stream to you live in Singapore. For those of us in our virtual audience, we'd like to express our heartfelt thank yous again to our judges here, to our finalists for the amazing presentations, to our mentors, to our partners. A lot of you are in the audience, and everyone that's joined us here at BCA Academy and those who have streamed online as well. We're going to bring up one final QR code for you, and that is for a little bit of feedback. Let us know how we can do better for our next few editions. And that's it. Thanks so much for joining us for the CSXC 4th edition Demo Day. Ladies and gentlemen, it took a whole team to get us to this very moment today. Can we give them a warm round of applause? They are right around you. The teams are here. They are backstage. And they continue to work hard even as we speak. I'm Charmaine E. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we'll see you very soon. Take care. Thank you very much.